Hello, hello. What's up? Welcome. Good afternoon, good evening, good night, good morning, all that fun stuff. This is Tuck Rule Takes, episode 33. 33 was Dion Lewis, wasn't he? I believe.
It
If I
was.
remember correctly. There we go. See,
Yep.
33. Dion
Dion
Lewis
Lowe.
episode. I am Mike Sullivan, with me as always, Liam McDade. Liam, what's up, buddy? How you doing?
I'm pretty damn all right. Like I told you, I was watching a childhood cartoon most of the day. I hit the sauna, I hit the gym. I'm feeling revitalized. I got my coffee right here in an array of waters, and I am honed in to talk about some Patriots football because there is much, I have to say.
Today was a wild day. It just so
Real
happens
weird.
that we ended up we normally record on Tuesdays. It just so happened today was the last day for the franchise tag to be placed. Quarterbacks got moved, traded, people got tagged. Most of our predictions from last week got blown up. We will get into all that. We're gonna do the Patriots defensive free agency, all that fun stuff like we did last week. Then, like I said, we're gonna touch on some shit that kind of blew up our thoughts and predictions from last week. But I feel like we got to start with the $200 million man that is Aaron Rodgers. It got reported today. And I say it got reported today for a reason. Ian Rappaport, the Packers, and Aaron Rodgers agreed to terms on a 4-year deal worth $200 million, $153 million guaranteed, makes him the highest paid football player in history. Somehow that contract lowers or helps the Packers out with their cap.
I was trying to figure that one out too, where it's like they spread it out over more time so it's not as bad. And I'm just looking at it, I'm like, that's $200 million. That's a lot of money. Like, what is that, 160 guaranteed?
Yeah, $153. I always think that I have the cap figured out, and then all of a sudden shit gets reported, and I'm like, oh, I don't really
I'm
know
clueless.
Shit. So everybody is getting all pumped up today. All that fun stuff. Ray was like, oh my God, look at this. Aaron Rodgers, he's going back, the diva, all that fun stuff that he did before the season and everything. Aaron Rodgers decides to tweet out 5 hours ago. Probably he let the news of him signing back with the Packers sit for like an hour, a little bit more.
Simmer, slow cook.
And he said, hey, everyone, just wanted to clear some things up. Yes, I will be playing with the Packers next year. However, reports about me signing a contract are inaccurate, as are the supposed terms of the contract I signed. He put signed in quotes. I'm very excited to be back. Little flexing emoji, year 18 with a little heart. What is going on? How does this get reported and then it's not real, but then he comes out and says he's coming back? Like this man, so much drama around this guy. I thought to start the year that he was done with the Packers.
Oh, for sure. I thought he was Denver for sure. And we'll get to that after this. But I was like, they signed his coach, like Denver, all the telltale signs. They got the great offensive core there, 2 stud running backs, the wide receiving core. They originally had a good tight end in place too. So it all made sense. I was chalking it up guarantee. I was like, they have enough money to sign Devontae too. They can make some trades. Nope. Lo and behold, I have never seen a player have such a stranglehold on a franchise before, because we saw Tom Brady kind of try and do it, but the franchise was just as equally in favor of Bill as it was in Tom. So he couldn't take full control here. In Aaron's circumstance, there's no Bill Belichick. There's no Robert Kraft. It's all Aaron Rodgers all the time. The whole franchise starts and ends with their number 12.
To think that this guy might be getting even more money now.
That's what I was thinking too.
It might be less. Imagine if it comes out less, where he's like, he really only signed for like 2 years. And
see, now I'm convinced he won't let that happen, because it's like it already got let out to the public that he's getting $200 million. And like I said, he's got a clear hold on this team. He can go anywhere. He can leave if he wants. He can stay if he wants. If he leaves, they're fucked. If he stays, then they're still one of the better teams in the league, still probably not going to win a championship. But now he's probably like, you embarrassed me. Who leaked this? I need more for my inconvenience, for the stress that this has put on me. oh, I need 240 million now.
I wouldn't put it past him though to act like
Why-
Aaron Rodgers
why
seems
wouldn't
like
he?
the type of guy that's gonna text. He's not even gonna call. He's not even gonna do the decency of a call. It's gonna be a text. Be like, hey, who leaked this? Question mark. I need 50 more million guaranteed.
Yeah. So 240 question mark. But like,
yeah,
not even just him as a bad person though. Like, if you had the leverage like this, like if you were the franchise cornerstone of the Packers, they're like, Sully, you are our saving grace. We kiss the ground you walk on. We eat, sleep, breathe, and shit. Sully, what do you want? We will give you a $200 million contract guaranteed. You're like, all right, like that sounds pretty good. It's kind of cold up here. I'd not rather stay here, but for that price, it sounds pretty okay. And then boom, the news goes out, and you're like, well, I didn't sign anything yet. So what can I work here? Everyone already thinks I'm coming back. It's a slam fire that I'm coming back. I could leave now. I haven't signed anything. Well, let's just bump that price range up a little bit. They're like, Sully, but you said you're coming back. Yeah, but now I'm only coming back for an extra 40 mil. And they're like, well, we already told people you're coming back. We kind of got to pay you now.
You have just convinced me this was all a part of his plan, because not
The
only
ruse.
this happened, immediately afterwards, it came out that the Packers were going to be franchise tagging Davante Adams. So now what he can say, he can be like, yeah, I never signed anything. And, you guys just tagged Davante, I mean, if you want me to come back, like he's going
to force a trade. It could get messy. He said he's only playing for me.
He might hold out.
Oh, not even a might. He outright said, I am only catching passes from Aaron Rodgers. He said when Aaron Rodgers retires, he's retiring. And he's like 10 years younger than him.
Yeah, which is wild. But yeah, that I'm convinced you've put me on the conspiracy side. This has all been a ruse I think Aaron Rodgers was the one that
leaked the X-Files
the
music.
info. He was Yep. He was only he was like, hey guys, tell him this is what I got. And then he tweets, I don't know who let this leak.
But if it's any less, I'm leaving.
I mean, yeah, I thought I was gonna get more or something. I guess not. I don't know.
You guys are lowballing me.
But yeah, so Aaron Rodgers going back to the Packers. The Patriots do play the Packers this year. I had that game down as a win because I anticipated that Aaron Rodgers was not going to be playing. But he is, so might not be the surefire win that I thought it was, especially with probably a certain all-pro corner no longer being on the Patriots. We'll talk about him
Don't break my heart so early in the show.
In a second. I know. I'm sorry. Well, here, how about this? We'll switch it. We'll switch it to another quarterback. Russell Wilson. Today was just like a bombshell after bombshell. Then all these other little things got like sprinkled in, dropped in too, like Allen Robinson not going to be tagged. He's going to test free agency, all this crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson goes to the Denver Broncos. This trade, it took a while for everything to come out. What happened with the trade? Denver gets Russell Wilson in a 4th round pick. They always throw a 4th or a 5th round pick in. They always do. There's always like that extra.
Evens the whole thing out.
Always. Seattle gets quarterback Drew Lock, tight end Noah Fant. I'm going to say Noah Fant.
I say Fant.
D-line Shelby Harris, 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, and a 5th round pick.
King's ransom.
I think this trade is one that works out for both teams, and I will just give my quick thought on it. Denver gets a quarterback. I do think that Russell Wilson is still very good. I think that he is on the, I don't want to say he's bad, but he's definitely on the later parts of his career.
In the twilight.
Yeah. He's in the twilight. He can still win you games and everything, but let's not act like he's been, the Russell Wilson of 4 or 5 years ago. So Denver, though, they still got their quarterback. They got a bunch of young people over there, young talent. Awesome. Seattle, though, hasn't been doing anything for the last 3 years. Sure, they might make the playoffs. They might have good wins, but they're in that perennial, we're good, but we're not good enough. This needed to happen. They needed to have an overhaul. Hopefully they get rid of Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf, maybe, who knows? But
Maybe
Seattle,
to a potential suitor in the
I don't know. Maybe a team that needs a number one receiver for their second year quarterback. I don't know.
And maybe a self-proclaimed best Patriots podcast ever called this about a month ago.
I think so. And I don't think anybody's talking about that. So if it happens, we are going to have to let it be known.
Yeah, we're going to be cutting sound clips. But
I do find this trade to actually benefit Seattle too. They got 2 first-round picks. I don't know when the picks are. The thing I'm looking at right now doesn't say the years, but either way, they have 2 first-round picks. So I'm sure they got one for this year, one for next year. 2 second-round picks, 5th-round pick, whatever. You got Noah Fant, good tight end.
Always hurt.
Good tight end. Yeah, always hurt. But who knows? Maybe if he can stay healthy, he could produce a little bit. I don't know much about the D-line guy. Drew Lock. I mean, if you need someone to start in place of Russell Wilson till you get a good quarterback, whatever. Seahawks are going to be kind of iffy for the next couple of years. But this whole haul they just got, this is how you build your next championship team, I think. So this is the rare good trade for both teams, if you ask me. What say you about this?
I think Seattle got fleeced. I don't know what they're thinking. It just seemed like such a bonehead move to me. If I'm a franchise owner, I look at Seattle's team right now, and the offense is still basically one of the top half offenses in the league. Chris Carson just happened to miss this year with a leg injury. He'll be back. I'm sure he'll be fine.
Chris Carson.
Yeah. He's a bruising running back. It's not, I think he tore his ACL or something like that, or hurt his hip. He doesn't need speed. He plows through everyone anyway. So that doesn't particularly matter. Like you said, Lockett and Metcalf. Can you name a better receiving duo in the league? Just offhand. Anyone besides Thielen and Jefferson?
No, I mean, I think maybe the closest is Cooper Kupp and Robert
Yeah.
Woods. Maybe I don't, but even then, that's still not in the same stratosphere to me. No.
Yeah, because I mean, DK, young stud, can do everything, run the entire route tree. Tyler Lockett's never dropped a single pass in the red zone. So I just want to throw that stat out there. Unbelievable. Yeah, it doesn't even make sense. They're both unbelievable players. And then you have all-time great, really he is an all-time great, Russell Wilson. He is a fantastic quarterback. It just seems like Seattle gave up way too easily. Like if you look back at Russell Wilson's career when you got him, and in the first year he goes to the playoffs, beats the Redskins, and then makes a deep playoff run, loses to the Falcons, and then the next year wins the Super Bowl, goes to another Super Bowl after that. It seemed like they were destined for greatness. Like, man, they'll be here all the time. Russell Wilson's going to win at least 3 in Seattle, blah, blah, blah. No, that wasn't the case. No, he didn't really get that close. It just seemed like another year to kind of retool for them. They could have brought more guys in, built around Russell Wilson, and made another run at it, and yet they're completely blowing it up. It made no sense to me.
So I was just looking because I wanted to see how long he was with Seattle. I thought it was 10 years. You have Russell Wilson for 10 years, and you only make it to 2 Super Bowls. You only win one. And like, I know that this is the day and age where everybody says that it's, it's easy to win the Super Bowl, blah, 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 whatever. When you have Russell Wilson, when you have the Legion of Boom, when you have that defense, when you have supposedly a great coach in Pete Carroll, when you have, the defense that was good for, the last couple of years, they've been kind of falling off.
They faded out.
This team should have made it at least to the Super Bowl another couple times, you would think.
Yeah. And this, like I said, their offense is fine. All you need to do is fix the defense. Like you said, they've been bad for the last couple of years. So one half of the ball is basically all set. You just trust that Russ is going to cook and not have a bad year like he did last year and get hurt. So one side of the ball is fine. All you really need is a couple offensive linemen that are competent in there, and then that's fine. Just focus on the defense. Get some corners, get some edge rushers. Pete Carroll's already coached a killer defense built by him. Just do your best, make another run at it again. You could have got rid of Russell Wilson for almost the same load 3 years from now and kept the fans interested, kept asses in seats, and built his legacy in your franchise. I don't know. If I'm an owner, I would never do that. And if I'm a Seahawks fan, I'm pissed right now.
Oh, I'm very upset. I am. Yeah. I'm pissed because, again, take away like how I feel. And again, I feel like whenever you call someone overrated or something like that, people automatically think that you think they're not good. No, I think Russell Wilson is a very good quarterback.
Unbelievable.
Very good. I would be pissed about not only like maybe if say it was one of those things where it's like, yeah, we're trading him, but the rumors are that the Seahawks are getting Aaron Rodgers, or they were obviously before today and everything. But there's no plan in place. Like, who are they going to get? Who could they get that is going to make Seahawks fans feel good about him not being here? Jimmy G. Yeah, sure. Sure. We like Jimmy G. People like him. He's no Russell Wilson.
No.
I don't even know who, like, you could bring Cam Newton in there as kind of a 1-year thing.
Now we're talking.
But again, that's still not like, that's not going to take away your feelings about him and mine actually, but that's still not going to do everything. I mean, Carson Wentz, is that who you end up going for?
That's a great choice as well.
It's still a downgrade though.
Oh, it's definitely no Russell Wilson,
especially with the Seahawks it now being out there that they're taking calls on Tyler Lockett. If they're taking calls on Tyler Lockett, who has 3 or 4 years, or I think 4 more years left on his deal, they're taking calls on DK Metcalf as well. Yep. He's got one more year left.
And if they're not, I'm sure DK's like, all right, Tyler, I got to get out of here. There are other quarterbacks. Get me to Green Bay. Get me to New England.
If the Seahawks are going to do this, they almost have to just go full dumpster fire sale, complete revamp. Let go, get as many picks as you can. I guarantee you can get a first-round pick for DK Metcalf. You can probably get what, maybe a second or a high third.
Yeah, you were saying a first or a second. Yeah, I would take something like that.
Yeah. Oh, if you called the Seahawks and they said, hey, we need your first-round pick this year, and your second-round pick. Or you could even say, your second round pick next year. I do that in a heartbeat for DK Metcalf. In a heartbeat. Tyler Lockett, he'll probably cost you see, I don't even know if I want to say a second round. A second rounder? Third rounder, maybe?
Something like that, a second and a third.
Yeah.
You have to give up a couple different things. A good player.
I would give that up in a heartbeat. So I think now with the Seahawks, this is a sign that the Seahawks are not going to be good for the next few years. They're completely rebuilding. That's the word I was looking for. Rebuilding. Yeah, nice. They're done. Still going to be weird. I don't know if I like it that Russell Wilson is in the AFC. Even though I sit here and say that he's not everything he used to be, still kind of annoying that he's here because now still
dangerous.
The AFC is stacked right now. The AFC to me is far and away the better conference than the NFC. I mean, the NFC quarterbacks, who do they got? They got Aaron Rodgers,
Matt Stafford.
Matt Stafford, forgot about him. I mean, you got Kyler Murray, who is probably your next in line, and Kyler Murray added
Justin Herbert,
all his Instagram pictures, by the way, for the Cardinals back to his Instagram. So I guess him and the Cardinals are happy now.
I guess they're good. What a circus.
I don't know.
Like you said, though, we talked about this when the Bengals played the Rams in the Super Bowl, and you were like, I like the homegrown talent mentality, and I'm like, I like the go trade for superstars mentality. So we were opposite sides of the fence there. If I'm a contending team right now, like, I want to say the Patriots, because that's just, I have high hopes for the Patriots, but another guaranteed somebody who's not going to lose the next couple of years, like the Packers. Let's be realistic. They can sweep their division the next 2 years in a row, go 6-0 right through their division, get the number 1 seed. If your first round picks aren't going to be worth shit, like you're going to get the 27th to 32nd pick in the first round, trade both of those for DK Metcalf. I'm giving up 2 first round picks if that is the thing that pushes you over the edge, because hell, Devontae Adams, DK Metcalf, Aaron Rodgers, I don't care how Aaron Rodgers screws it up. You have to actively try to fuck that up. If they don't win, it has to be a sabotage job. There's no way he wouldn't be able to get those guys the ball. So if I'm a contending team, throw anything you got. You don't need these first round picks. You're not raising homegrown talent. Just eat it. No first round pick for the next 2 years. Not that big of a deal. Hell, if you really want one, trade another good player and get into one of the first rounds of either year. Yep. It seems like that would be my move.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, if you anticipate you're a contender, your first round pick isn't going to be that great anyway. If the Packers can get Aaron Rodgers throwing to Devontae Adams and DK Metcalf.
I'm gonna stop watching football.
That might be the best wide receiver tandem I've ever seen. I mean, we're talking all the way back to Marvin Harrison, Reggie Wayne, better than them.
Moss and Chris Carter.
I can't even think. Who was it? Bolden and Crabtree? Were they on the same? No, they weren't on the same.
Bolden and Fitz. That was
Fitz. That's who it was. Yeah, Fitz. But even then, I wouldn't even hold a candle to them. It's just if you can get DK Metcalf on the Packers, you have to do it. The Packers have, I guess, a shit ton of room now. So not that DK costs that much anyways. I think he costs like $4 million. So that's
he's still on his rookie deal, I'm pretty sure.
Nothing. Yeah, that's nothing. So I don't know. I do hope that the Patriots now call on both of them. One phone call. Hey, Tyler Lockett, what do you need? Blah, blah, blah. You want this? Don't know. Okay, cool. Hey, before I let you go, what about DK? What are you thinking for him? Boom. You got it. If you can get one of them on this Patriots team, holy shit, I'm happy. I am pumped if you can get either one of them, because Tyler Lockett, like you said, elite in the red zone, just a great receiver. He can be the number one receiver. I don't see why not. DK Metcalf, you've seen the DK Metcalf plays. You've seen him have games of 200 yards receiving. Guy's a beast. But either way, I think that Denver still isn't a contender. I don't know why. I just need to see it. Like, I don't know. And especially,
I already bet them to win the Super Bowl.
Von Miller might be coming back to Denver as well.
I saw that. That seems like a guarantee.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe Denver is a contender. I don't know. It's all going to depend on it's really going to come down to how Russell Wilson plays on this team. Yeah, I mean, he doesn't really have to worry about the cold. It was cold in Seattle. That's fine. I know it gets colder in Denver, but I don't know. Now Denver's just another team the Patriots got to worry about, which I'm just...
Yeah, that's going to suck. Quick career retrospective here, and I'm going to tie this back to Mac Jones in a second. If you looked at Russell Wilson from his rookie year through his first couple of years in the league, let's say after they lost the Super Bowl against the Patriots, before you knew that the Legion of Boom was going to melt down and Brandon Browner would go to jail and Sherman would suck and Cam Chancellor would retire and Earl Thomas would double team some broad with his brother in a hotel room. Before you knew all that chaos would ensue. Yeah, that was hilarious. Before you knew all that was going to ensue, you look at Russell Wilson's career, and it's hard for me to imagine like a better start besides maybe Patrick Mahomes' start to a career. He had so many clutch moments constantly in the playoffs. It seemed like the Seattle Seahawks were either going to the Super Bowl or a game away from the Super Bowl every year, having crazy moments. That game against the Packers where Russell Wilson led them back from like 21-3 down or something like that. He had that crazy 2-point conversion where he threw across his body. I was like, it was just destiny. I was like, this guy's unbelievable. He's making every play. It just seemed like the football gods wanted Seattle to win all those games. If you had asked me back then, I would have been like, man, this guy's got to win a bunch of Super Bowls. Oh my God. And then boom, it all fizzles out slowly over time, gets worse and worse and worse. And bang, after 10 years, Russell Wilson's, the Seattle era is done. He's on to Denver, which the irony kills me. The team he got his first Super Bowl with is the team that trades for him. I love that shit. But it proves how hard this league is. And everyone talks about, oh, Patrick Mahomes is going to win 5 Super Bowls. Like everyone's trying to give like the Tom Brady magic. This person's going to win so many Super Bowls, blah, blah, blah. Aaron Rodgers, you would have thought he'd have more than one by now, and he only has one. Does this worry you with Mac Jones, where we expect him to get, I think we both agreed he gets more than one Super Bowl.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Does this worry you at all? Because he's not a transcendent thrower of the football. He's not eye-popping like Russell Wilson was or jaw-dropping with his touch passes like Aaron Rodgers has been. He's no Patrick Mahomes throwing for 50 tubs in his first start season. It makes me worried because I'm like, damn, if clear-cut, slam dunk Hall of Famer Russell Wilson can't win and Mahomes boys still having trouble, even though he was knocking on the door this year, Aaron Rodgers still hasn't had the success. It's like, why would I think that Mac Jones is going to do better than Aaron Rodgers or any of these other guys? And yes, you can use outside factors like Bill and better teams and whatnot, but just looking clear at quarterbacks, it is tough for these dudes to win one Super Bowl. If you get one, it is even harder to get a second one.
Yeah. So I think now the thing is with with like your Russell Wilson, your Patrick Mahomes and everything, doesn't necessarily make me worried about Mac, because if you look at the past teams that have made the Super Bowl, that's why I was just pulling up just now. Last year you had Matthew Stafford and Joe Burrow. Yep. Nobody that's going to blow again. Everybody, Joe Burrow. Yeah, this year, everybody, Joe Burrow. Everybody loves him. Matthew Stafford. Everybody likes him. But again, they're not the pure physical. Your Russell Wilsons, your Aaron Rodgers, your Patrick
they're both
Mahomes,
fantastic quarterbacks, though.
Very good quarterbacks. Obviously, they've been playing for a little bit. Burrows and a couple of years and all that. The one before that, Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is the anomaly. He's great. Tom Brady is who he is. Year before that, you had Patrick Mahomes going against Jimmy G. Nothing That's crazy weird. To write home about.
Yeah.
You had Patriots against the Eagles, Nick Foles, or even if you had Carson Wentz, neither one of them, nothing crazy to write home about.
Well, I think Nick Foles is the greatest quarterback ever, but
you are wrong. All I'm kind of looking at here, all these quarterbacks that have gone here and everything, none of them, other than Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, none of them are these, these transcendental players. You know what I mean? I mean, of course you have Russell Wilson, but he hasn't been there in however long. You have Patrick Mahomes, and I think Patrick Mahomes is going to follow the Russell Wilson thing, where everybody thought he was going to get not 4, not 5, not 6 Super Bowls. Patrick Mahomes might only get to another few Super Bowls and might only win one more. It's one of those things where I think people think that it's easy to do. With Mac Jones, I'm going to hold my reserve. I'm going to reserve my real thought until I see him this year. It all depends on how he does this year. I have no issue with Mac Jones kind of slow burning into a great quarterback. You know what I mean? Because right now, I mean, you have Russell Wilson is going to be around for another few years, Patrick Mahomes for another few years, at least at the top of his game. And then by the time they start to fizzle out, that's when you're going to have guys like Mac Jones, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert. They're going to finally come into their own. It's going to be that era of people. So I'm still not worried about Mac Jones. I know that it'd be nice to have a quarterback who does have that, like, wow, like that. Since we're talking about Russell Wilson, like the Russell Wilson where he can kind of do his little thing and
scramble around the pocket for 30 seconds and then throw
these crazy throws. Exactly. But that's fine. But then I also saw out of Mac Jones last year, like, I'm also fine with you sitting in the pocket, hanging in there and throwing darts, bullets, accurate passes to players too. I think it's kind of, there's more than one way to skin a cat. My cat heard that. Yeah, no, my cat, he's sitting over there. He heard me say
not psyched.
No. Don't worry, Loki. You're good, buddy. But yeah, I'm not necessarily worried, or is that because I think I kind of lost track of the question.
No, you answer it. In fact, you said something that
as I was talking, I was like, what the fuck did he say?
That happens to me all the time. I just kind of go on a rant, just let me talk. But you brought up the slow burn into a good quarterback, and just recent evidence seems to suggest that the slow burn into a great quarterback seems to yield more success than the dynamic explosion onto the scene quarterback that kills it every year. Unbelievable. Because like I said, Aaron Rodgers, Mahomes, those are the two top unbelievable quarterbacks. But then you have Brady, who in his first couple of years was basically a glorified game manager. Mm-hmm. You have Big Ben, 2 Super Bowls, 3 appearances. He was, to start out, just a pretty good quarterback. Everyone was like, oh, like, this dude's got something. Mm-hmm. Goes throughout his career. He was never, his Big Ben, I think he was always like a fringe top 5, like hovering in the top 5. I would say he was always one of the better quarterbacks in the league, but he was never the best guy in the league, bar none, no questions asked. Tough competition around him too on that part, but it seems like the slow burn might be the way to go. And if that says anything, then Mac is front runner. Like, there's no slower burn. He's going to take his time. He's very easygoing. His game is methodical. It's rhythmized. He's not blowing you away with anything. I think there were maybe 4 or 5 throws this year from Mac Jones where you and me were like, oh my God, what did I just see? Like a couple in the Browns game, and then he had some good ones against like some better defenses. But other than that, we're just kind of like, nice, death by 1,000 cuts. I love that 5-yard pass.
Solid, good quarterback. He's not gonna make those wow scramble 35-yard passes, but at the same time, he's gonna keep. And again, this is just his rookie year. We don't know what he's gonna be this year, but kind of everything we're looking at. I mean, he's not gonna necessarily lose you games. He's going to win you some games, but he's not to the point, and I don't think anybody can expect him to be. He's not to the point where he can kind of put the team on his back and win the games for you. But 100%. I think that I think this is kind of a bigger picture NFL thing that I was thinking of with Tom Brady gone, with Aaron Rodgers kind of on this last leg. So Aaron Rodgers is actually really the only one in there. Patrick Mahomes, of course, he's always going to be up at the top. Big Ben's gone. Drew Brees is gone.
Stafford's on the way out too. If you look at the long
on his way out. I think moving forward, you're not going to have the Patriots versus whoever. You're not going to have the Chiefs versus whoever. You're not going to have there's going to be different teams almost every year getting to the Super Bowl. I think we finally hit the time where any year there's given 5 or 6 contenders in each conference, I think.
Yep.
Moving, and especially as these young
people
quarterbacks
thought the Titans were going to make it this year. Like
with
is
Ryan
wide
Tannehill.
Yeah, imagine.
Come on. Yeah. So I think we're finally getting to the point where almost every seed in each conference, you could sit there and say, oh yeah, no, I can see them making it to the Super Bowl. So I'm really not that worried about how Mac Jones is, because I think there's a bunch of different ways to get there. And it does always come back to the fact that I have more faith in Bill Belichick than I do in any other quarterback or any other team out there. But I don't know. It's definitely one of those things that's still in the back of your head. It's like, shit, like it would be nice to have one of those guys that can do that. But then you watch the games and you're like, I'm not going to argue with the playoff berth in his rookie year, especially when the team was kind of floundering at the end. We still will never know what happened after that bye week, which kind of caused the team to spiral there. But I don't know. I think this is the definition of a slow burn. I think this is going to, without the Super Bowls, this is going to be like similar to how Tom Brady developed, where you start as a game manager, then you start to like, oh shit, he kind of won us that game. And then 4 or 5 years down the line, it's like, oh yeah, no, we're good. We got Mac. I'm not worried.
Yeah. I hope we go by the same model too. Like year 6, 7, all of a sudden you're like, all right, he's that guy. Now let's load him with weapons like they did Moss, Welker. Dear God, we had Ben Watson. It doesn't get better than that. We just loaded him. Everyone does. He's just the quintessential tight end. But we just loaded Brady with weapons, and then we're like, yeah, go to town, fucking throw it. We'll give the ball to Lawrence like 4 times.
I mean, I do think that Mac's going to be here for a long time. He doesn't strike me as the guy that's going to try to get all the money. And again, he might change as he grows and all that fun stuff. But no, I feel like you can kind of tell, players that are going to be, trying to get like all the money, all the contract. Dude just seems like he loves football. So I don't know. I'm cool with the slow burn for Mac Jones. If the Patriots stumble their way into an AFC championship or a Super Bowl or something, depending on what happens in the offseason, I'd love it. Don't get me wrong. I'm still going to, my Patriots bias is still going to come up a little bit. I'm still going to think that they're going to make, the divisional round at least every year. But,
oh yeah, me too.
We'll see. It all depends on what they do this offseason. So we'll kind of see what's going to happen there. Speaking of this offseason, before we get into the Patriots defense and all their free agents and all that fun stuff, I don't know whoever listened to last week's episode, you probably heard us say our two favorite receivers, our top options for the Patriots to get were Calvin Ridley and Mike Williams. Mike Williams has signed a 3-year, $60 million deal with the Chargers. Good for him. $20 million per year. Patriots were not going to be touching that.
Not good for him. Poor bastard doesn't want to win, I guess.
Yeah. Who knows? I mean, Justin Herbert's over there.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, they could. I'm just salty.
Yeah, I know. You liked him. Well, I liked Calvin Ridley, as I know you did as well. Calvin Ridley.
I like him even more now.
He has been suspended for at least 2022. That's what they said. That's not the end. He may be suspended for longer, which would be absurd. Calvin Ridley got suspended. He placed three Parlays. Yeah, the 3, 5, and 18 parlay he placed on, when was it? Between November 23rd and November 28th. He bet on the Falcons, so he wasn't betting against his own team. He got suspended for that. He got caught because he used the app in Florida. Florida strikes again. Florida is horrible. Florida takes down yet another great man.
Hate to see it.
Listen, the rules are you can't bet when you're, I don't know the exact how it's listed out, but you can't bet when you're an active player, when you're on a roster, all that fun stuff. But Calvin Ridley was away from the team. There has to be some sort of gray area. And again, I'm not arguing that he got in trouble. I do think a year is a little much, but first of all, Calvin Ridley, dumb. You know, you can't bet on NFL games. Just don't do it. Do it through another person, do something like that. But then there's the other side of it. Do you think this suspension is valid? Do you think it should have been less? Do you think that he shouldn't have been suspended at all? What do you think about it? Because I kind of gave my thought. I understand the rule. He has to get suspended, but I think it's a dumb rule because he was away from the team anyway.
I mean, it's pretty cut and dry. I like to think that if I was an NFL player, I would have some sort of I'd like to think I would have some sort of inside leverage. Like, hey, I know, because Calvin Ridley watches film. I'm sure he could break down and go, all right, the team that the Falcons are playing this week isn't good. And, man and press coverage. And we run a lot of like curving in and out routes and natural pick routes that'll beat them. And just stuff like that. If you are a part of it, whether it actually gives you some advantage or not, it's tough to say, because football, it's the craziest game ever. Any given Sunday, any team can win. The Lions could beat the Chiefs if it wouldn't, but crazier things have happened, I guess. I think it's a bad look, and it's clear cut. He shouldn't do it. It was really dumb. I heard he also bet on Matt Ryan to get a pick, which made me laugh. I absolutely love that. At least he knows his quarterback anyway. But it's clear cut. People who work for Wall Street work on Wall Street can't do the stock market. That's insider trading. Do they actually know anything? Most of the time, probably not. I'm sure some people get a few hints here and there, like this one's going to explode, and they still can't do anything about it. But overall, they probably don't know a whole lot. I think it's the same thing with football, where it's like, I'm sure you get some hints. Like if the Falcons are playing, a team that's terrible in the run, and they're like, we're going to feed Mike Davis the ball this week. That's their game plan. They're like, we're going to run the ball a lot. And then you hop on and bet Mike Davis, a touchdown and this many carries, because you basically guarantee, the game plan. You are on the team. You know that they're going to run it a certain amount of times. Especially if you're the wide receiver, you probably know how much you're going to be getting the ball, and it's probably not as much as you want to. Then I think there's some merit to it. What he was doing, 8 5-leg parlays, unlikely. He lost every single one. Again, hilarious, but it's just, you can't do it. It's really dumb. Really dumb.
Yeah.
For his username to be Calvin Ridley from the Falcons, too, it's like, man, do anything else.
Try to hide it a little bit. Yeah. I mean, I don't like,
if he tried to hide it and got caught, I would feel even more sympathetic for him. I'd be like, hey, I like to gamble. I like to get my kicks. I'm sure if I was in the league, I would probably still be the same way. I can't imagine it would change my habits. I'd probably still like to gamble. And it's just like, I don't know. It's so bad. Just cover it up, man. There were NBA refs that were betting on games through other people and giving other people picks and doing all this stuff. They didn't get caught until 8 years later, and they got caught by some wild thing where they arrested some other dude and he confessed to taking bets through an NFL ref. That wasn't even what he got arrested for. He just happened to confess to that too, and then they got him like 8 years later. I'd rather you do that, because then it's hidden. Then you lost on technicality. Then I throw my hands up and go, well, damn, man, you got screwed. You just got unlucky. With Calvin Ridley, he's playing with fire. He's juggling a hot potato, but not throwing it to anyone else.
It just doesn't make sense, because like, there's so many ways for him to bet without him doing it under his own name, or don't use the app in Florida, like all this stuff. And I get why the NFL says it, because I know people are like, oh, well, he wasn't even playing, like I just said. But then you got to think, okay, so Julio Jones played with Calvin Ridley. They might be friends. Let's just say they're friends.
Yeah.
Ridley kind of lets it go to him, on Saturday before the game. Like, hey man, I bet on you to, crazy bet, but I bet on you to drop 2 balls this week or something like that.
Yeah.
Flash forward to the Titans game. Maybe the Titans are getting blown out or something like that. Julio Jones is upset, something like that. Yeah. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to drop this one, help out my boy, Calvin Ridley. Then you start to look at it and it's like, well, if that happens, it's one of those things where it could snowball. So I get it. It's just.
And that's where I think it's complicated if you get into player props. He was doing just teams to win and Matt Ryan to throw a pick. That one's a little suspect too. I don't think he would be like, yo, Matty Ice, buddy, like throw a pick for me. I don't think Matt
one time.
Yeah, I don't think Matt Ryan needs any encouragement to throw picks. I think he's more than willing to dish them out to everyone. You get a pick. So I don't think that's a problem. When you're doing teams, it's a lot less likely. Less likely that you'd predict it. It just with player props, it gets complicated for me because I'm like, do you know something? You could talk to this guy. There are jersey swaps after every game. You jersey swap with somebody on another team, and you're like, yo, I am putting 25 grand on you to score a touchdown next week. Come through for your boy. And then that guy's like, no way. They were telling me that they just need to give me more carries. It's like, perfect.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, it like you said, since it was just kind of teams overall, wasn't player things, anything like that. It is what it is. It's just a weird thing. I don't think it should have been that long of a suspension. Maybe 8 games or something. A year. I get that they're trying to send a message. It sucks.
This doesn't happen.
It's no. And I know, well, I don't know, but I'm sure he is not the only player betting on NFL games, which makes it even crazier. Like, dude, how are you the one that gets caught? That's like, everybody in baseball is doing steroids, but you're the one that gets caught because you're too stupid to like hide it. Like, come on, buddy, just be better. It's almost like when celebrities or whatever get DUIs. It's like, what? How do you let this happen? Like, let someone else drive you. Let someone else place your bets or like do your shit there. I don't know. Just do it how probably the hundreds of other players do it and don't get caught. So. Calvin Ridley, though, will not be on the Patriots this year. Maybe next year. Maybe next season he pops up on them.
Talk about bad luck, too. Like, we were the favorites to get this guy. It seemed like a slam dunk that he was out of Atlanta. Whether we'd have a chance there, I'm willing to take that chance. It seems like a 40-60 chance that we got him, 40 in our favor, 60 for the league. I like those odds. And, of course, the asshole just has to go and throw together a bunch of parlays. And at least win one, man. You dumbass.
That's just it. He didn't win anything. It's like what, you bet $1,500. You lost 11 million because you're out for the year. You didn't win anything. It comes out that you bet on your quarterback to throw a pick. This is just a bad look. Over. And then he's tweeting his way through it. And I'm like, dude, just stop.
Is he tweeting? I didn't see any of his tweets.
He tweeted something. He was like, oh, I only bet $1,500. I don't think I have a gambling issue. I don't think anybody's saying he has a gambling issue. I think people are just saying he's an idiot for doing this. Yeah. I don't think that, but I don't know.
If it happens again, then maybe he has a gambling issue.
Then he's got a problem. But yeah, like I said, safe to say he won't be here. So I think we are, I think you're on the Deshaun Jackson train. I'm
the captain of that locomotive.
I have now switched to the Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf train, I guess. And if not, then
I'm a passenger on that train as well. I'm hopping from train to train here. I'm hoboing.
Either, and I'm also fine with Amari Cooper. I know you are not fine with Amari Cooper.
God, no. I can't believe you're fine with Amari Cooper. He sucks, dog.
1,000 yards the last 2 years though, so that's nice.
Yeah, but it comes in, he'll have like a 200 yard game, weird. And then a 40-yard game, a 30-yard game, another 200-yard game.
Fine with me. You know why? Because if he goes to the Pats, he's going to have like each game he's only going to have like 70 yards, so he can meet right in the middle because he's not going to get the 100 yards.
Now that's realistic, but even still, I don't want him.
There's
a reason he's been on 2 teams. The Raiders wouldn't have let him go so young if he was that good.
Yeah, that was weird when they let him go, but it makes sense. He does disappear here and there. So
they did have James Jones at the time too, who's just unfathomably good.
I like James Jones. I remember I had him in fantasy. I think 1 year I picked him up and he was good. So
he fox.
I don't know. Either way, though, Amari Cooper, he's on the board. I guess the Browns are looking at him too, or some shit. I don't know what's going to happen, but
Probably go to the Browns.
That is really the only new. Now there are some other Patriots things that happen, but we'll actually talk about them when we get into the defense here, because there are two players from the Patriots defense who are going to factor into what they do in free agency and what they're going to do in the offseason. Liam, do you have a specific position group or specific place you want to start on this defense, or do you want me to pick?
I do have a place that I want to start, and that would be the heart of our defense, the lifeblood, the flesh, the soul, and that would be the linebacker position. There is a lot going on. This is a big scrambled mess of studs, and it's all highlighted by the recent exodus of the man, Kyle Van Noy, which broke both of our hearts.
Yeah, Kyle Van Noy, I think, is he's one of those guys that probably doesn't. He gets more attention, more respect within New England than he does outside. But yeah, he's great. But he was one of their more consistent, one of their better players on defense last year. So they're or this season, however you want to say it, they're gonna have to replace him.
Talk about big game potential too. He took over that Hawks game.
He would just show up. He would just show up big time. He reminded me of Rob Ninkovich, where like he'd have good, regular season, good season, but he would show up.
Always good, sometimes exceptional when the moment rose.
Yep, and that's Kyle Van Noy. I mean, don't count out a return, because he might go out there, not see anything. He might be like, hey, I'll be back for a third time. But yeah, he got cut. They got I think it was like $5 million in cap space, or $7 million, something like that. Oh no, I think it was 5. They got like 4 and change by letting him go. So that's good. Right now, Patriots linebackers, they have kind of like what we did last time: Matthew Judon, Josh Uche, Chase Winovich.
This is hilarious. I love
Ronnie fucking Perkins. I wrote fucking in between because that's how high on him I am.
When you sent me this, I looked at that and openly laughed. I chuckled.
Anthony Jennings, Cam McGrone, Raekwon McMillan. Those last two names probably I might have to give some background on them. But then you got Jamie Collins, who's a free agent, Dante Hightower, free agent, Jawan Bentley, free agent, Harvey Lange, free agent, and Terez Hall, free agent. He was actually just signed last offseason, got injured, missed the entire year. I guess we'll just kind of start with the free agents, kind of like we did last time with the offense. So the Patriots free agents leaving. Terez Hall, Harvey Lange, I think we can both say that they're probably not going to come back. There's
that seems like
no reason for it. They were probably signed for this year. They end up getting hurt, didn't play, whatever. Jawan Bentley, thumper of a linebacker, still relatively young, but he's one of those slower guys that I think that they're trying to move on from. Do you think Jawan Bentley is going to come back? Actually, no, you know what I'm going to do? Between Jawan Bentley, Jamie Collins, we all know how Jamie Collins is, how good he is and everything, and Dante Hightower. Out of those three, who do you think's coming back? Who do you think's leaving? Do you think any of them are coming back? What do you think?
I hate to say it, man. This hurts. I feel like I'm giving like a eulogy at a funeral here. Jamie Collins is gone. He's not coming back. His Patriots tenure for his career is over. He's gone. He's not coming back. We will never see a 91 or a 58 with Collins on the back of it, unfortunately, and it kills me. I loved him. Drafting him out of Mizzou, he had so many big moments early in his career. He was the perfect linebacker, fast, big, can tackle. Sounds like the Muhammad Ali soundbite. Yeah, just perfect. He's gone. He's definitely gone, and that kills me. But I also think Jawan Bentley's gone too, and that's like you said. I don't think that's a huge loss. They're trying to move on, get a little younger, get a little faster, and he killed it with the tackles. That man can wrap up. Killer technique. I liked what I saw from him. With those stats, though, and all the tackles that he had, it's high time he got a contract with Miami. So I'm sure he's off to South Beach. Seems like a given. That seems like the clear-cut next move.
Yep.
Unless he's been there already, then he'll go to the Lions. We've seen that before. And then there's Dante. That seems like the big question. Like I feel like the Swaggy P meme where I look at you with a bunch of question marks behind me. I truly have no idea what to think about Dante Hightower. In my heart of hearts, I want him back. I want him back real bad. I just don't know if it happens.
Right now in their linebacking core, I think they need him, I think, for like 2 years, maybe, just to have that veteran
issue
presence.
The next wave of great Patriots linebackers.
Just like Gerard Mayo did with him. I think Dante Hightower has to be there to even, and again, he knows he's at the end. He's not going to, he had a chance to leave before he didn't, he stayed. I gotta think he comes back on maybe a 2-year, somewhat of a team friendly deal. I mean, I agree with you though. Jamie Collins, he's gone. Awesome. I wish you could have stayed here longer. Wish you could have produced more when you were here, but I know things kind of happen, whatever. You're gone. Probably not coming back. Jawan Bentley, time for you to go, man. Go get your contract. Go do your thing. You know, I think right now he's Pro Football Focus's 8th rated linebacker right now available. He'll get a big contract somewhere. Probably won't live up to it because that's what Belichick does with players. He makes them look better than they are. But Dante Hightower, I gotta think he comes back. If I'm gonna,
is it wishful thinking though?
I don't know, because he did have a year off for COVID. So if you want to add that in there, like he has a year up from where he is. I mean, I know that there's been reported interest from both sides. I think it's going to come down to if a team blows his socks off and wants him to leave. But I also know that Hightower, he just had a kid. He probably doesn't want to move his whole family. You know, he wants it. He loves New England. New England loves him. I mean, Gerard Mayo is on the staff. Him and Mayo were close.
Yeah.
I think.
If you have to make a decision, gun to your head, some dude's robbing your house, and he says, is Dante Hightower leaving or staying? If you don't give me a flat answer, I'm robbing everything in your house and skinning your cat. What's your answer?
No, I don't think he comes back. And I have to say it. I say it because I think Devin McCourty is coming back. So I think that he's going to be the veteran that gets brought back. Now, if Hightower doesn't have anybody out there, he wants to come back and do his thing, that's fine. But this is a crowded room right now.
It is.
I mean, you have obviously Judon is staying. He's not going anywhere.
Yep.
Uche, he was kind of hurt. He was dinged up a little bit.
He's staying though. He's got big time upside.
Not going anywhere. Winovich, I mean, he's on the team, so we'll see what happens. I don't know, but
he's as gone as N'Keal Harry.
N'Keal fucking Harry. Ronnie Perkins, we know about Ronnie Perkins, future Hall of
franchise.
We know he's staying here. We know he's staying here. Anthony Jennings, missed him all last year.
I love him. Love him.
He is going to be, I can't say really good because we haven't seen him play. He didn't play at all last year, but he expected to be very good. Cam McGrone, fast linebacker, can play side to side.
Watch his highlights.
He's going to play a role. Raekwon McMillan, he's been in the league a little bit. He came over from Vegas as an unristricted free agent, I believe.
He tore his ACL this year in minicamp. He didn't play either. I was like, son of a bitch.
Yeah, he didn't play either. So it is a crowded room. And I think the Patriots are trying to get away from those, heavy thumping linebackers. I think they're trying to move to your kind of quicker sideline to sideline linebackers. I would love to see him come back. I would love to see it. I think he can still come back for a couple of years and kind of, produce. But like you said, gun to my head, they're going to skin my cat if I don't answer. I don't think he comes back. I hate to say it. I hate to say it. It's just like when we do season predictions, I have to predict a loss for the Patriots. I hate to say it, but I don't think Hightower comes back.
Yeah. See, I truly can't pin an answer one way or another for me. Like,
I know it's tough.
Gun to my head, I'm just telling him to shoot me. Like I can't. I'm like, I can't think of anything, because it's like you said. So he's been here for most of his whole career, and if we're being realistic, linebackers' shelf life is much shorter than just about any other position besides maybe linemen, and even now linemen are holding on. I realistically think Hightower has maybe 2-3 years tops left in the league. if I'm Dante Hightower, do I really want to start over from scratch, new system that I don't know in my last 2 years? It seems like a terribly not ideal situation for him. Like you said, I'm sure he's got family rooted here, doesn't want to uproot and leave. But if you're the Patriots, you look at him, we liked him. We looked at every game. We looked at every box score. We were always checking out Dante Hightower did after the game. He held it down. He
Played
did
well.
pretty good. Yes, well would be the word I would use to describe him. But there were those big plays where he missed the tackle and their other team's running back would go for a long touchdown, or the blown coverages where he just wasn't fast enough to do his job, where they were killing us over the middle and he couldn't hold down the deep quarter there. If I'm the team, I'm hesitant to bring him back for anything less than a massive pay cut if he wants to take it. And then it comes down to, does a dude who foregoed, I don't think that's the word, but gave up.
Is that it?
Something like that. Forwent, let's use that. His year for COVID, didn't get paid for that year, I'm pretty sure. They just kind of bumped us to next year. He already lost money there. Do you want to lose money again, taking a small contract with the Patriots? Or you want to go cash in and, play with the Lions and be miserable for 3 years, but you'll be rich for the rest of your life? It's tough. Both sides have an argument. Both sides make sense. I truly can't pick.
It's tough. And Belichick likes him too. That's the thing.
Yeah,
I know that. And
everyone does.
He did show up last year. He did play well. Again, there were some towards the end of the year. There were some missed tackles, things like that. But
we saw it from McCourty too. You can't make every tackle.
No.
But I'm sure the Patriots look at those and go, geez, Dante Hightower in 2015 would have made that tackle.
Yep. He probably would have made the tackle, forced a fumble, picked it up, all that fun stuff. But
absolutely stiff-armed his way to the zone.
Yeah, I'm gonna make my first tough decision here. And yeah, I think that Hightower, I think he's gone. But at the same time, everything you said makes sense. He might want to stay. He knows he only has a few more years left. Doesn't want to move everything. He wants to just, I'm good. I don't need to go learn another system. If anything, though, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes to the Titans. Mike Vrabel.
Yeah.
I could see him on the Titans, but I hope he doesn't go anywhere. Let's just say that. I hope he doesn't.
Yep. Oh, I don't want him to leave by any means.
But I think he's going to be one of those moves that hurts Patriots fans. That is what the Patriots do. Bill Belichick, he hurts you with these moves, but then halfway through the year, you're like, okay. I know you know better than me. I know.
Like Hightower died for our sins. That's all right. Now we're fine.
Yeah. So I don't know, but I if I had to gun to my head, I'd say he's not coming back. I want him to come back. You want him to come back. And again, it's just too tough of a decision because you never know what's going to happen. So who knows? But the free agents that are available right now, the first one on the list, don't know why I have him there. He's a defensive end. That guy, you see him, the first one there. We're not going to talk about him.
I didn't even notice that, but he is a defensive end.
He is a D end, and we will talk about him. And I want him here. Yes. So first one, we got Jose. Don't know how to say his name. Jewel. I don't know.
Jewel.
Everything that I looked up about him, he's from the Broncos. He is a Hightower-esque type of a guy. He can
big praise.
He can kind of come down. He can kind of call what's going on in the field. He knows what's going on. He can tackle. He can rush the passer if he has to. He can stop the run a little bit. Wouldn't mind him coming over here. That was kind of my first one there. And again, these names aren't sexy. You're not going to see many sexy names here because I don't think that linebacker is really a sexy position. I
beg to differ. I'm aroused by at least two of these names on here.
Say for maybe a couple of them on there. Well, speaking of aroused, probably not a good thing to say about this next guy, Alexander Johnson. So he missed 4 years of his career due to rape charges, but he got acquitted of those things. I guess I don't know what happened with the case or anything, but I guess it got thrown out, got proved that he didn't do it. So he is 30 right now. But he's really only like 24 in like football years. So wouldn't mind him coming. He is also from the Broncos. The Broncos aren't going to be able to hold on to everybody. So Broncos are going to have someone packing. Maybe Hightower goes to the Broncos, teams up with Von Miller, and they have an awesome year. And we're all pissed that Hightower left. Wouldn't mind him coming over here. Josh Bynes. It's so tough for me to get amped up over linebackers. I can't. It's
really
tough.
oh I
Yeah,
love
it's
it.
tough.
Linebacker was my position in high school, so I eat the shit up.
I love the position. I love watching linebackers play. Love watching them make plays. Can't get excited over some of these guys because, like, honestly,
I mean, they're not like household names. We'll get to some of those down the list a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like Alexander Johnson, obviously he's been out of the game, so he's not a flashy name. Josie Jewell was a backup, and like he would play in like nickel coverages, and then more and more would get more playing time. But even still, he's been a career backup for the most part, so not wildly sexy. And Josh Bynes, you got in the description here, run-stopping linebacker. Those guys are not the ones that you know about. Luke Kuechly stopped the run, but he also intercepted every damn ball in the air. So that's why you knew him. All the other linebackers, that Brian Urlacher, that guy made big plays. If you're thinking of a linebacker, it's usually because he's completely and utterly dominant in every facet of the game. And if guys who are just have like Juwan Bentley, if this is a Rams podcast, we're looking at Juwan Bentley and going, who the fuck is Juwan Bentley?
No idea. Like who? Yeah. What? Juwan Bentley. What? How do you say his name? Juwan. Like what the hell?
Juwan.
Yeah, they don't know anything about Juwan Bentley. Meanwhile, we're saying here like, yeah, he played really well last year. It's his fourth year of his deal. He deserves it.
We have shit to say about it. I'm sure players that or teams that follow Josh Bynes that have had him on the team really like the guy. His stats are pretty good too, for all it's worth. But he's not like a big play guy. The interceptions aren't there. He's not a game changer.
No, he's just, and that's why I think the names I was looking at here and everything. I mean, there's some actually the next three names I put on there are actually a little bit more well known, but I don't think the Pats, if they pick someone up in free agency for linebacker, I don't think they're going to pick up some, big stalwart guy that you can build on for the next however many years. I think they're going to pick up someone who they can plug in there for the next 2 or 3 years, kind of similar to an Adrian Phillips, even though Phillips has obviously outplayed his thing. That's why he got another contract.
But with every Patriots, like that, the no-name guys always come in and ball.
Yeah, so I think it's just going to be one of that where, he kind of looked like, hey, man, I'm going to bring you in. This is what I want you to do. I'm not going to ask you to do things you don't know how to do. I'm going to have you, put you in the best position to do what you do. So, I don't know, a run stopper would be nice to have, but I put Thumper there because that's what he is. He's more of like your bigger, like Juwan Bentley type, where they might not be really fast, but like they can stop the run, but it's nothing crazy. The next one I put down here, Layton Banderas. That's a name that people know because he is from the Dallas Cowboys. Kind of fell off. I think he's only like 28 right now, which is great.
Yeah.
Wouldn't hate him coming over because I think he's going to be on a relatively cheap contract because he has had a kind of a down couple of years. Wouldn't hate him coming over here for, 3-year deal or something like that. Jayon Brown, he's the one I would want if I had to pick from the Titans. He's fast. I've seen him before on the Titans. He can cover if he has to as well. He can make tackles. I personally, that's the guy I would want on here. And I think maybe it's just because I've seen him play on the Titans more. So maybe I'm just more familiar with him. So I'm biased in that sense. But I would want Jayon Brown here. I don't know what contract he's going to get. That's the other thing with all these free agents. They might just price themselves out of here. So
yeah,
who knows? And then the last one I put down was Anthony Barr. So Anthony Barr, I've always liked him. I mean, he's got a little bit of an edge to him too. I would have no qualms with you bringing Anthony Barr over here.
I think that's a sexy name right there. That's something that the girl in my dreams whispers in my ear before we're about to make sweet, passionate one. That's a name that gets the flag up the pole. I really, 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 really like Anthony Barr. Mm-hmm. And he had the most interceptions of his career just last year. Otherwise, the numbers are fairly decent for him. He's still 72 combined tackles, which is just about up there for the most he's ever had. 34 assisted is also the most he's ever had for assisted tackles. And the sacks are always pretty consistent. He's never had above 4. Last year he had 2.5. His highest is 3.5. Or actually his highest is 4 actually. So yeah, he's always been a big play guy to me. Like I remember when he first came into the league out of UCLA, he got a couple pick sixes, a couple strip sacks, brought him back to the house. And I was like, this guy's a premier outside linebacker. I played outside linebacker. I loved, hate to admit it, DeMarcus Ware and people like that growing up. So when I look at this guy, he kind of has that same vibe about him. He is old though. He's been in the league for 8 years as a linebacker. That's a tough one. But the production hasn't dipped at all. I think in a Bill Belichick-led defense, this guy can be once again deadly. Like he can step in and easily fill a Van Noy role and go get us a couple sacks at that and bring a veteran presence for some of these young linebackers too. This was the sexiest name on this list for me.
The fact that you said that he's been in the league for a little bit, his numbers are never eye-popping. I think that's one of the reasons he should be on the Patriots radar. He should be on Patriots fans radar because who is going to be knocking down his door? Of course, people are going to look at him. He's a well-known name. He's still good and everything, but who this strikes me as someone that Belichick would kind of scoop up,
just screams Patriots player,
and then plug him in. Yeah, because again, you don't need someone in as a linebacker to be able to, come up with all these sacks or all these things, because that's just not the system Belichick runs. Anthony Barr, I would love him. Those last two guys, Brown and Barr, either one of them, I would want on this team, because I think that makes it so if you have to let go of Hightower, you can. Of course, you're not going to be able to to replace the leadership that Hightower has, but still veteran, so you can get him in there. I would love.
Brown's a middle linebacker, right?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly. Yeah.
So
I wrote it down.
What about Layton Banderas? Do you want him?
I mean, I know that he has talent. That's why I put him on there. I mean, anybody that has talent, I mean, who knows? Maybe Belichick can get him in the right spot. He was on some Cowboys defenses that were pretty good. So
pretty bad.
I mean, I wouldn't, and pretty bad down the stretch, but that's kind of the Cowboys in general. I wouldn't hate him. How do you feel about Layton Banderas?
I don't want him. I absolutely don't.
Why? Why?
No. Because I think he sucks. I don't like the Cowboys. I don't like players who played for the Cowboys. I don't like players who recently played for the Cowboys. This is going to be contradictory coming to what I would say next. But there's nothing about him that I like. I don't like his Dutch name. I don't like the way he plays on the field. He's not very exciting. Overall, I hate him. I absolutely hate him. I don't want him, because then I'm going to have to like him if he comes to the Patriots. And I have pleasantly enjoyed hating this guy for the last couple of years. To give up that hatred would be a disservice to me and to him, really, in the long run. If we're talking about former Cowboys linebackers that I'm looking at a little more than him, and this sounds ridiculous because he's basically out of the league now, Jalen Smith.
Wasn't he not attached, but maybe it was just some random person on Twitter. I feel like the Patriots were somewhat interested in him. I mean, and why wouldn't
when they cut him the first time around, the leading teams to sign him were the Eagles, the Patriots, and the Packers, and the latter succeeded. He signed with the Packers.
Yep.
Yeah, and then they cut him. He didn't even last the whole season. He finished with the Giants, and he was on their practice squad and got bumped up to the active roster just for like the last couple games when they weren't winning anything. He's basically out of league, but he has a lot of problems too. He's a linebacker that his effort just fluctuates. Like he doesn't try in some circumstances. Some games you'll be like, this dude's unbelievable. He's got the perfect size, gigantic human being, jacked, good enough hands, can play the passing lanes, has decent speed for his size, can stop the run hella. And it just didn't work out for him. I think those bad habits, which ended up eating him alive in Dallas, because you can play like shit in Dallas and no one's going to care. Amari Cooper's been robbing that franchise of money for the last couple of years, so they don't care.
That's a shot. That's an unnecessary shot.
Totally not unnecessary. So they don't care if you play well. He's just kind of was able to settle into mediocrity and kind of keep his money, and then they finally got fed up with it and cut him. I think if Bill was willing to take a risk on this guy, it's definitely a risk because maybe he still sucks and maybe he gets cut after 2 days. The upside is Bill could shape this dude into a premier middle linebacker.
Huge upside.
I think he was a first round pick out of Notre Dame. I remember him in college and being picked and being like, no, the Cowboys got him. I was so mad. And he had a great start to his career.
I wouldn't hate that. I didn't even think of him because, like you said, he's out of the league, even though he's technically in the league. It's one of those things where even when he's in the league, you're just counting down the weeks for him to be out of the league. So I would not hate that at all. He wasn't even on my radar because, like I said, I don't even picture him as an option because I don't even he
really fell off.
He could be a made up name
quick. Yeah,
he was really good.
Sounds like a generic name. Jalen Smith. Yeah, that's a real person.
Yeah, sure. Mr. Madden creative player. I'm sure it is.
Dan Smith, BYU.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but yeah, I wouldn't. I don't know about that. That'd be.
I just think it's a high risk, high reward situation for him.
The move that Belichick's done before, he's made those moves that
we brought in Albert Hainsworth.
I was just gonna say he brought in Albert Hainsworth. You had Albert.
It doesn't get more high risk, high reward than that.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't at all. I mean, you had I keep forgetting the guy's name, the linebacker from the Ravens that the Patriots gave a contract to, not Judon.
Adalius Thomas.
Adalius Thomas. Yes.
He was a monster.
Not when he came here. He takes risks on, and I didn't even think that was a risk. I thought that was a slam dunk of a move, and then it clearly was not.
From what I remember him, I don't never remember him being all that bad. He won like 2 Super Bowls with us.
No, but he wasn't like he didn't live up to anything. Like
he wasn't as dominant. He was part of that 2000s Ravens, I'm pretty sure, and then came here and wasn't as dumb. But then again, he was also playing with Willie McGinnis and Teddy Bruschi and other gods at linebacker. Like, how do you Roosevelt Colvin was sick back then.
Oh, I loved Rosie Colvin. Oh, I forgot about Roosevelt Colvin.
So he was playing in a stacked house there. Odds are stacked against him in a sense, but
Who else do you have at linebacker? Because that's all I have. I was kind of just taking a look at everything other than names at the bottom. Anthony Barr, I think, has leapfrogged Brown to be my number one guy that I want them to get. Just kind of everything you said. He's still producing. I think I could see him in a Bill Belichick defense, just lighting it up, kind of not necessarily stats wise, but just being productive. Freeing up space for other guys, just, being where he needs to be, all that stuff. Anthony Barr is my guy. Did you have any other linebackers on there?
Yeah, I had 3 other ones that I thought were worth looking at anyway. So the first one was the top linebacker in this class, Anthony Hitchens, top linebacker. He'll probably get a big contract elsewhere. So this was kind of a far cry is the word I would use for that. But he's a big body, can stuff the middle. Yep. He's basically just kind of a younger Dante Hightower. He's not going to kill it in the passing lanes, but he can make tackles. Obviously, if he doesn't get a fat deal elsewhere, I would invite him. That's kind of my reach. That's less likely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm looking at, he's a pretty decently big name for a middle linebacker. Christian Kirksey was my other one from Houston. I remember him on the Browns. He had a couple big games. He went to another team too after the Browns. I can't remember it before he went to Houston, but from what I remember of him, he was a damn good linebacker a couple of years ago. Just the name stuck with me. And then my last 2 names on this list, one of them the Patriots already had. They can bring this guy back. He's still young, unrestricted free agent, John Bostic. Do you remember Jonathan Bostic?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't hate that at all.
Yeah,
I wouldn't hate John Bostic. He's
not crazy, not a big name, not going to turn our franchise around, but he's depth. He knows the system, been here before, and he's had marginal success in the league. I like John Bostic.
Yeah, that's a depth piece, and I think that's like unless you can get someone, on the cheap who can come in and kind of play starting minutes. I sound like I'm talking about basketball, but can actually play some significant things like that. You're really just signing for depth here.
Yes.
So I would not mind Bostic at all.
All of us expect like the young guys to fill in and be starters. Like I expect Anthony Jennings to come in and be automatic big minutes guy. You obviously expect the world of Ronnie Perkins, me slightly less, but still expect a lot.
Pro Bowl.
Yep. And these other young guys all have potential too. So at that point, you're going for depth. I think that's kind of a win-win there. My last one's kind of a Hail Mary. This guy's a stud. I've always liked him, but he's suffered a lot of injuries. I think like an ACL tear too. Quan Alexander.
Oh yeah, Quan Alexander. I remember that name.
Yeah.
I think I came across him earlier and I was like, I feel like he's going to get a big contract. He may not, just because I recognize the name. I thought that
They rated him as God, it's got to be like the 10th best linebacker here, but he was they have him as an inside linebacker. I remember him as an outside linebacker, but he would play the pass extremely well. Just a great pass coverage linebacker. Nothing crazy. He's not going to make every tackle, but hell, most of our other guys seem to be there because they can run sideline to sideline and make tackles because they're young, very youthful and energetic. If we can get Quan Alexander to kind of play the middle and not get gouged by Buffalo's incredible amounts of crossing routes, I think that's totally worth bringing in. He was on the 49ers when they went to the Super Bowl. He was on the Buccaneers a while ago, and they were pretty good too. He's always been somebody that I've looked at. On Sundays, he makes big plays. I don't know what he's done recently in his career, actually, but trying to pull it up here.
I'm trying to look to see if they know what his projected contract may be. Let me see. Where'd it go? Quan Alexander. There he is. Okay. Yeah, he's on the see, he's wearing number 5. Hate that. It just confuses me.
Yeah, no, I don't like that.
Not even confusing me. It just upsets me. I don't know.
I do not like that, Sam. I do not like green eggs and ham.
So people, so they're saying, what is this? Saints USA Today. They're saying around 7 million, maybe. That's something. It's
nothing terrible, but it's probably more than our price range anyway. It seems like he's still playing at a good level though. 3.5 sacks last year, 50 tackles and a pick. That's kind of what you look for as a pass coverage linebacker. I'd obviously like more than 1 interception, but it's a linebacker. Everyone throws deep now. Yeah, no, not much you can say. Quan Alexander, I would love that if you can get him here too. But again, it's just going to be one of those things where is he gonna get priced out of here? That's why you almost have to look at like these depth pieces, veteran guys, older guys coming off injuries, kind of guys who have underperformed, a la like a Layton Banderas, who has kind of fallen off in the eyes of NFL fans and stuff. I don't know. I would like that. Jalen Smith is the name that kind of threw my head for a whirl here. Yeah.
Jalen Smith would be amazing. Imagine if he comes here and works out. That would be something. I would
give him a workout. Throw him into the preseason fold and see how it does. Mm-hmm. An off season and preseason with the Patriots, I firmly believe whatever bad habits they have, they will sniff that shit right out of them.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, and if he doesn't fall in line, ideally, you sign him to a team-friendly type thing. Just release him, cut him.
Oh, he get bare minimum. He was playing for a practice squad this year. Yeah. You can get him for nothing.
Yeah, no harm, no foul. So I think I'm gonna go. If I had to pick them to sign a free agent, I'm still going Anthony Barr. I would like that. I think that'd be probably the more
100%. He's my number 1.
But I didn't even think of John Bostic. I could see Bostic coming back here. And being kind of a nice depth piece, plug and play when you need him. Say there's a little injury, he can go in there and play. Like you said, he knows the system as well.
Yeah. He goes into the long list of Patriots linebackers who have come through and left that most people have forgotten about, like the Jonathan Castillases of the world.
Yep. Oh yeah, no, I remember him. He was on the
Super Bowl team.
He was on the Super Bowl team. Okay.
Yeah, when we had Revis and Browner.
Yep. John Casillas, I forgot about him.
I love that guy.
But yeah, so that's your linebackers there. Next, I think I want to save DBs and safeties and everything to the end. So we'll go
moving on to D line.
Right now, Pats have Dietrich Wise Jr.
Stud.
Bro, say his last name.
Devin Godshow.
I hear you say it. It's one of those names I will never be able to say back. Godshow. Devin Godshow. Oh shit, look at me. There we go.
God, and then instead of CHAUX, it's show, SHOW.
Godshow. There it is.
Godshow.
Look at that. Devin Godshow. Look at me go.
Yep.
So
I only know that because I went to Louisiana and everything ends with E or AUX.
It just throws me off. I see it and I'm like, God shocks. Like God shocks. Yeah, God shocks. God no. Christian
No.
Barmore, our boy.
Yeah.
Barmore, obviously, we know. Lawrence Guy, Byron Cowart, Daniel Ikuali, I think is how you say his name. Bill
Yep.
Murray, not the actor. And then Carl
Damn.
Davis
I was
Jr.
really hoping we would give Bill Murray a workout.
is a free agent. Kind of right off the top. Carl Davis Jr. is not coming back.
No. We can make that one clear.
No reason for him to. Dietrich Wise just signed a deal last year. He's playing fine. God Show playing well. I mean, I think we all agree with that one. Barmore, we know him.
That goes without saying.
Yeah, don't even need to bring him up. Byron Cowart, big body. He got hurt this year, so you didn't really see him. He's good when he's here. I think the Patriots might look more probably in the draft. I think, honestly, since we're talking about this, I think in the linebacker, I think everywhere on defense, they're probably going to go draft for most of these needs. But free agents, though, if they can get them, let's just start with the first one. Chandler Jones. He's going to be available. Cardinals are saying they don't want to pay him. Do you want Chandler Jones back on this team?
Can we pay him?
Sign me. Give them Chase Winovich. Give them N'Keal Harry. Who else do you want to throw in there? Yeah, I mean, I don't even care.
We're giving them negative value with those two guys. So.
Whoever, and a third round pick. Just get, if you could you imagine Chandler Jones, Christian Barmore up front, even Lawrence Guy too, Matthew Judon behind Jones.
Yep.
You got on the other side, Uche rushing the passer. Like you got all the. I don't even want to think about it too much because I don't think it's going to happen. But if Chandler Jones can come here, oh buddy, things are going to be changing if Chandler Jones comes here. But
call me crazy, Chandler Jones is a Super Bowl move.
I wouldn't even call you crazy. Because Chandler Jones is that type of guy who can come here.
For a defensive end, if you sign a defensive end, I don't think anyone in the world besides maybe if you sign prime J.J. Watt, you're like, this is a Super Bowl move. But no, Chandler Jones is a Super Bowl move.
He is because what he adds to the defense. You know, this defense is going to be good anyway. You know, I know they fell off towards the end of the year last year, but that's neither here nor there. If you have Chandler Jones on this line, because you got to think about it, they're going to double team Barmore. They're going to.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So
if they're not, they're making a big mistake.
If you got Judon and you got Chandler Jones coming at you, are you kidding me?
Dog, his stats are disgusting.
What are you going to do? Yeah, no, they're crazy. God. That's why I think he might get paid some big contract elsewhere, but you got to.
If there's any chance, if there's any hope. Hell, go to him and be like, hey, come home. We won't be able to pay you as much, but remember all the winning you had here.
Remember how fun it was?
Be a big part of this.
Remember that?
Although it did end pretty ungloriously, if you remember that.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking about. I don't.
What a weird situation that was. Shows up naked to the police station in socks, claiming that he's overdosing on weed. He's flipping out to the police.
So maybe
he smoked synthetic weed. And
he might have to iron that out with Belichick and be like, "Hey, just letting you know, like I'm a better man. I go out fully clothed now. You don't have to worry about me.
I'm staple all my clothes to my body now.
Couldn't take them off if I wanted to. So don't worry, Coach Belichick, Billy B. I'll be here. I will be.
Oh, God, dude. When I heard that, I was like, that's ridiculous. We do have to put these numbers in context, though. 10.5 sacks this season on paper. That looks killer. He had 5 in week 1.
Yeah. I mean.
So that's bad. Bad.
Yeah. So that's really that's really 5 the whole year. Like if you want to take out that one game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's 5.5 if we're getting specific. But so that's unspectacular. That's scary. And that's why I think there's hope for the Patriots, though, because other teams look at this and go, oh my God, he's getting worse. He's inconsistent. Like this is his year, because he's been in the league since 2012. He's old. He's coming up on 10 years now.
Yeah, damn.
They're looking at it and they're like, 10 years, bruising defensive end. Do we give this guy a big deal? And Bill just comes through the tunnel like, I will.
I honestly, if that happens where teams are looking at him, they're like, I don't know if I want to sign him. If he, end of the last couple of years, who knows what's going to happen with him. I don't know if he's at that age where he's starting to fall off. Wouldn't be surprised if Bill calls him. He's like, hey, you want to come here, quick 2-year deal. We got something good going up front here. You can, do your thing.
Why wouldn't
I wouldn't hit it. He already got his bat. He already got the money. So it's kind of like, I mean, if he's not looking to get another huge contract, Chandler Jones, easy, bar none, far and away. He's the guy you got to go after. But who knows if he'll come here though? I don't know. But next guy I had on there, I had Akeem Hicks. Akeem Hicks is the number one guy available right now in free agency. He
number
is
one. Wow.
Yeah, well, again, kind of no one knows for sure, but it just kind of ratings and all that.
That's how they ranked him.
Yeah, I could see him getting a huge contract, but I still had to put his name on the list because I would like to see him come here.
Former Patriot. I think it was only 1 year, but we won the Super Bowl with him.
Yep.
God,
yep.
I love him. Love him.
Yeah, I would love for him to come back. Another homecoming. Come on back, buddy. Please come back. But Calais Campbell, next one. Calais Campbell, I think, is a little bit more realistic because he is older. He's older. You could get him for 2 years. Campbell can kind of do everything. You rush the passer. He can stop the run as well. He wouldn't have to play any, almost every down or anything like that at all, because the Patriots actually have a good amount of depth on the D line right now. He is kind of old. I don't know what his market is. I have no idea at all. Wouldn't hate Calais Campbell coming here though. What do you got cooking over there?
Do you know where Calais Campbell went to school?
Florida State?
No, because I would have killed him by now.
Where'd he go?
He attended the sacred, the prestigious, the palatial University of Miami.
The palatial
Jesus. University of Miami.
All right, so you like him?
Yep. Means there's nothing I wouldn't do for the man. If he comes to my house with a bloody knife and a bag with decomposing body parts in it, I tell him, where do I hide this? Whatever he wants, I will do for him. No questions asked, bar none. He is a winner. And another defensive lineman to steal away from the Ravens. Hell, you said we missed on Adalys Thomas. We hit on Matthew Judon. Things come in threes. Let's try another one. I'll roll the dice here. He's unbelievable. 6'8", monster, and a true leader. Just veteran presence. He seems like one of those guys that Bill Belichick has played against for years and years and years, and just always been like, I got to get you on my team. You're a disruptor. There's nothing he really couldn't do. We could line him up at wide receiver. He'd catch 1,000 yards. I would love to have Calais Campbell.
Yeah, that'd be a big move. That would be one of those things to me where Belichick's kind of like, listen, like I think we're in a good spot. I just want, a defensive guy, a veteran that I can, put in there. If he has to play meaningful time and everything, or, starters worth of, time, he can. Otherwise, you can kind of split time with Guy. Barmore is going to be going into his second year. Maybe he wants to spell him a little bit. I would love Calais Campbell to come.
100%. And it's a great pitch for Campbell too. Like, hey, you got a couple of years on left. Just keep it competitive. You basically won throughout your career. Even when he was in Jacksonville, they went to the championship game, played the Patriots. Goddamn, keep the train rolling. You're a winner. Play for the most winning franchise.
Bring him in. Let's go. Come on. Calais Campbell, please come here. Next, former Bills, Jerry Hughes. I would like him just because he was from the Bills. I would like to see him come over here and then go sack Josh Allen. Good player. Another guy that's a little bit older. He would probably get more of like your veteran type of a deal. Wouldn't hate that at all. But Jerry Hughes, I think you'd be kind of adding not only a player, but you'd also be making sure the Bills don't get him again. So wouldn't mind him. It's a name that I'm familiar with too. And it might just be because he's from the Bills and I've seen him play. But Wouldn't hate it. That's another one that I think, you're not expecting him to make any world beating plays, but just kind of come in, be productive.
He's always been above
job.
average.
Exactly. Yeah. I remember him making plays whenever I'd watch the Bills and Pats. So I'd be happy with him coming in. So
I'm with you. Took the words out of my mouth.
Linval Joseph. This name, every time I see this name, I hear it all the time. Love the name. I don't know why. Linval just sounds weird, but it just kind of rolls off the tongue. Would not mind him at all because he is kind of a big body guy. His thing, he's a run stopper. Patriots need a little bit of help stopping the run. They were a little spotty at best last season. Would not mind him at all. I think all these guys too, they're all projected to make, $6, $7, $8 million. So not wild contracts. Maybe not the veterans a little bit less, but none of these contracts should make it so the Pats can't get them unless some team comes in and, swoops in. And, throws out like a $9-10 million dollar contract, which should be bananas, but wouldn't mind him at all. Sebastian Joseph Day. I will tell you one thing. I have never heard of this man until I looked up. I was like, okay, I think maybe I might have seen you a little bit, but kind of similar to Linval Joseph, run stopper, good guy, get him in there, kind of plug the holes. Nothing really crazy about that. Last one I put down, Sheldon Richardson, former Jet, former Brown, if I remember correctly as well. Two shitty teams come to a good team. Come play over here. Another old guy. Sheldon Richardson has been around for a while, but I don't think the Pats are going to be signing any huge names here. I think it's either going to be depth pieces or they're going to go through the draft, which I think is what they'll do for linebackers as well. What do you think they're going to make any moves, a free agent for the defensive end, defensive line, whatever you're looking at, or do you have anybody else that they might go after?
This is a tough one. I think they don't make a defensive line move unless it's for an extremely versatile lineman, such as Chandler Jones. Well, not even versatile. He's just fantastic. So you'd make a big move for a great edge rusher like him, or a Calais Campbell who can play defensive tackle, defensive end. You can kind of move them all over the place. So that would work. Bill loves versatility. Other than that, I hate to admit it, I've loved Linval Joseph since his days on the Giants when he would terrorize Tom Brady in Super Bowls. Jerry Hughes, also, like I said, above average. Couldn't point out Sebastian Joseph Day from a hole in the wall, so don't have much to say about him.
No.
But Sheldon Richardson, stellar athlete as well. Great run stopper. I remember he chased down Jarius Byrd on like a screen. They threw a wide receiver screen to him. He was running downfield, wide open breakaway. The only one that tracked him down was Sheldon Richardson. He beat out defensive backs. He beat out safeties. This big dude's just hustling downfield and chasing. Jarius Wright, was it? Jarius Wright might have been the wide receiver, but he ended up making the tackle. And ever since then, I was like, this dude's a tremendous athlete. He had a huge year on the Jets, and then they cut him for some reason. I think he might have done something off the field. And then he just kind of faded into obscurity in the Browns like most people do. Again, I'd like him. Do I think they'll get him? No, I don't think there's much of a need for him now, especially now that he's older. I can only see them making a premier move for Calais Campbell or Chandler Jones. Akeem Hicks, if he gets criminally underpaid, he might be able to come back just because we like bringing home homegrown talent. But even then, I don't think we need him because Linval Joseph and Akeem Hicks kind of stuffed the middle. We kind of already have that. Lawrence Guy, as much as our run defense was suspect at times, he also held it down plenty of times as well. Him and the combination of our inside linebackers as well did do an above average job. We are one of the better defenses for a reason throughout the season. I don't think you really screw that up by bringing in a bunch of new defensive linemen.
Yeah. And it's kind of one of those things where, we had to touch on it because it is a position group, but yeah, I think they stand pat. Like I said, they might draft someone just to kind of keep the process going where you just keep rotating the guys in and out and everything. But yeah, I don't think unless Chandler Jones comes here because he wants to and all that, or, Calais Campbell on the cheap because he is still very good.
Of course.
I don't think they do much here at this position. So, let's move on to the moment of truth. JC Jackson did not get franchise tagged today. The deadline was today at 4 p.m. Did not get tagged. to come to really kind of, if you've been paying attention to see how everything was going along, shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. The tag was going to be 17.3 million bucks, right around there. Patriots weren't going to pay him that. They tried to get a deal done with him, didn't get anything done. I think this is just one of those cases where the guy wants to get paid. The Patriots have a finite amount of money they can spend. It sucks. I think that, I don't know if it even could have happened, but I would have liked for something to get done earlier before this. But then again,
Yeah.
JC Jackson has kind of been dead set that he wants to test free agency, or that he wants to get a big multi-year, huge contract, wants to get paid Jalen Ramsey money. I think I saw one report he's looking at, around $20 million a year.
Damn.
The Patriots aren't going to pay that. It's just, that's not how it is. I don't know what this defense looks like without him, but I don't think it's going to really hamstring them that much. It's definitely, you're going to miss him because he is a top 3 corner in the league. Let's call it what it is. But I mean, you just got to hope that Belichick can coach around him. Maybe he drafts the corners or deep this year in this year's draft. Maybe they get something there. But before we kind of get into just, wrap up everything with the DBs and all that stuff, what are your thoughts, man? Mr. INT is likely no longer a Patriot.
Kills me. Feels like I've had my heart ripped out of my chest and I'm watching it beat to death in front of me. It is, there are a few words to describe the pain I'm feeling. It's just so annoying. Like I said, when we talked about him a couple episodes ago, we see it all the time, man. We really do draft killer guys. This whole Bill Belichick can't draft good players. He can't draft wide receivers. Everyone else, he crushes it. This was a home run, big poppy, out of the park home run, slam dunk hit here with Mr. INT, and it seems bleak. Like you said, we won't be able to pay him. I don't know, man. I really just want to hold out hope that we get him somehow, because I don't think he's declining anytime soon. This is consistency from a corner that I haven't seen since, I guess, Stephon Gilmore's 2 years with the Patriots would be the last time I see it. Before then, hell, it goes to like Darrelle Revis. I don't think Jalen Ramsey has been as stellarly consistent as most people have. And he certainly doesn't have the interception numbers. It hurts, man. It's really shitty, because this is a top caliber corner. And like, if we're making a top 5 list of corners, he has to be on every single person's list.
Everyone's list. Yep. Yeah. It sucks. And I know, sure, you got Jonathan Jones coming back. He's good at what he does, but he's not, he's not JC Jackson. And I love Jonathan Jones. I think he is going to be he's going to come back and continue to be a really good corner, but let's just call it what it is. He's not JC Jackson. So
no, he's not going to be in top 2 in picks in 2 years. I
saw someone, or I didn't see a bunch of people, but I saw couple fans tweet, I got to be upset about how the Patriots handled this situation. They couldn't, looking at how they went about it, everybody went about this the right way. They went until the last year of his deal. They tried to work out a deal. They gave him an offer through the season, which he says was an insult. We have no idea what that is coming from a player. That could mean they offered him 16 million and he was like, I want 21 or 20. So who knows? I take that with a grain of salt. They tried to do what they could to work out a deal with them. They couldn't franchise tag him because they don't have a bunch of cap space. And even if they did, I don't even know if they would franchise tag him, because if you tag them, you still got to fill holes in other places, still have.
And that's a big thing. Like if we re-signed him, we wouldn't be able to address basically any of our other needs. We wouldn't get McCourty back, which, I mean, what's worse? It's like, pick your poison. Do you want the legend back who's clearly, it feels weird saying he's not as good as he used to be. Because I still think he's stellar. He's maybe only a notch or 2 on the ladder below what he used to be, so he's still damn good. Do you want the old legend that's established, been here his whole career, or do you want the young stud who's balling out of control with a bright future ahead of you? It's a tough spot.
Yeah, it's a tough spot, especially when you kind of look. But then when you put the money in there, it's like, it's just one of those situations. I don't think that every situation like this deserves, a good guy, a bad guy, a team to get
Yeah,
blame or something. I think just sometimes deals don't work out. Sometimes
shit happens.
this happened with Chandler Jones. It just, he got priced out. It happened with Jamie Collins. Jamie Collins went out. It
Chandler
happens
Jones
with
did also
players.
smoke K2 and attack a police station. So
As far as I know, JC Jackson did not do that. But it's just one of those things where it just didn't work out. It sucks. You can talk shit about Belichick and how he works if you want, but this is how he does it. It's not like who knows? He may draft another corner this year that ends up being great for the next 3 years.
yeah,
You never
and that's
know.
what you want to remain hopeful for, right? You always want to be like, man, maybe the next one's right around the corner.
Yeah.
But the premier corners like that are a dime a dozen. Like, I can't think of a consistent corner through the 2010s anymore besides Jalen Ramsey. And even then, like, we still see him get burned. Like, beyond Jalen Ramsey and JC Jackson, who are like the consistent year in and year out good corners. Like, they don't really exist. One of the names I added to this list, he used to be pretty bad. He's a free agent right now that we could sign. He used to be pretty bad. Boom, all of a sudden he had a great year this year. He very well could go right back to being bad again, or maybe he could be great for a couple of years. There seems to be no consistency at the cornerback position anymore. Gone are the days of Jason Sehorn and Darrell Revis, Sean Springs, the lockdown guys. They're
gone.
They don't exist.
Gone. They don't. It's kind of, I mean, we talked about it. I think you brought it up halfway through the season. It's in the same way how like your lockdown defenses don't exist anymore. You'll have defenses that are just really good, but in any given game, a defense could give up whatever. Yep. Kind of the same thing with corners. So when you have someone like JC Jackson, you want to keep him, but at the same time, when you have someone like JC Jackson, he's going to get paid. Yeah. And it's like, when you have a team, I mean, granted, it hasn't, like, I don't think having a lockdown corner has or hasn't deterred them too much from success. I know you had Revis and everything for that 1 year. Gilmore obviously played really well, but other than that, I mean, Malcolm Butler wasn't this, amazing.
Wasn't lockdown.
No, you didn't. The only ones you really had, other than JC Jackson, Ty Law way back when to start, obviously. Stephon Gilmore, and then Revis for a year. I mean, I think if any coach is going to be able to work around it, it's going to be Belichick. Like I said, whether he drafts someone, whether he signs someone, puts them in there. I mean, if the pass rush is good enough, it's not going to matter who's out there at corner. So it's kind of you don't know how it's going to go, but it does suck that JC Jackson is likely gone. I don't see a way he comes back, especially now that he's hitting the market. He's going to have he might be one of the top 3 paid corners when it's all said and done. Because free agency is literally built around overpaying for people. That's what you do. Very rarely do you ever get a good deal in free agency for a player like that. Sucks, JC Jackson. Thank you for the memories. Hopefully you go somewhere where we never have to play you again. Although I did hear a rumor that he might want to go with the Dolphins to play with Howard too. That'd be a nice little cornerback depth. I would hate that. So imagine if he went there, then so would Hightower. That would suck. I'd
be so depressed. I definitely wouldn't be able to watch either of the 2 Dolphins games.
No, I'd hate that. So, but taking away JC Jackson, I didn't really split it up into safeties and corners. I figured kind of just do them all there. So right now for DBs for the Pats, they have Adrian Phillips, just signed a contract. Good on you, mate. Kyle Duggar, Joshua Bledsoe, Devin McCourty is a free agent, Jalen Mills, Jawan Williams, Jonathan Jones, our boy Miles Bryant, and Sean Wade. Not really a murderer's row of corners there. Safety, I think they're set. I don't think they have to do anything really at safety, to be honest. I think they might draft one. They might sign someone, but safety, Phillips, Duggar, you bring back McCourty, and then Bledsoe is supposedly going to be good. He was hurt all last year, so he didn't play. But Bledsoe, I guess, certain hopes for him that he can come in and actually produce, but
how realistic is that? Like you said, this is not a murderer's row. In fact, our cornerback position right now looks more like barbecue chicken than anything else. It just looks like a bunch of people who are ready to get stir fried. Jalen Mills, my feelings on him, not too impressed. Juwan Williams
was injured. Jalen Mills was injured last year. Remember?
You're right. Yeah, you're right. I really am just unforgiving of me.
Have sympathy.
Juwan Williams was in the doghouse all year. Apparently, he's real bad because Bill wouldn't let this dude sniff the field.
Nope.
We were given undrafted Miles Bryant all these minutes. Juwan couldn't even look at the field. So I have no expectation for him. Jonathan Jones, I'm juiced up that he's back. I'm psyched. But he's a number 2 corner at best. At best.
Yep. So right now we have a 2 and a 3 corner. We have Jonathan Jones and Jalen Mills. Because I like Jalen Mills. I don't think he's a number 1. I think he's a solid corner. You can plug him in there. You don't necessarily have to worry about him that much. But yeah, I agree. Jonathan Jones, though, can't wait. Can't wait for him.
Miles Bryant, good tackling corner and has a couple moments in coverage. He had the deflection that won the Bills game, which was cool. But like for the most part, he's just kind of a tackling corner. There's a reason he was undrafted. He's not blowing you away. No. And I mean, Sean Wade, he was the dude from Ohio State, just a man corner, was it, or a zone corner? He's specific one of the two.
Yeah,
I can't remember now because he didn't do anything of note. When he played, it was minuscule. He didn't really make an impact on the game. None of these guys are really impressive. This is the position we need to go out and improve immediately.
Yeah, and I think they have to do it both through the draft, and they should also sign someone as well, just to get him in there.
There's a lot of work to be done.
A lot of work here because, again, you have Jonathan Jones, solid. You can put him out there. I don't think you have to worry about Jonathan Jones really at all. I mean, obviously, you're not going to put him on, DeAndre Hopkins, Devontae Adams.
Mike Evans.
You're gonna put him. Jonathan Jones is a slot corner. He's going to shut down whoever you have in the slot for the most part. Jalen Mills, put him out there on maybe the team's second or third option and kind of, have him some help over the top. Should be.
He'll cover the Robert Woodses of the world.
Yeah, that's all. I wanted to ask you, Devin McCourty, you think he comes back? Gun to your head.
Has to, 100%.
Yeah, I think he does. I think
he's more of a surefire thing than Dante Hightower. To me, it's just kind of does he come back or does he retire? And I don't think he goes anywhere else.
No,
he's even in an even weirder situation than Hightower. It's like he's in the last year or 2 of his football life. He's not going anywhere else. That's just obscene. There's no swan song season for another team for him. He is on the Patriots or he's retiring.
Yeah, he talked about it. I mean, when you have reporters asking you almost every week about how you're feeling if you're going to retire and you don't tell them you're not retiring, you're in the last year, maybe 2 if you feel good that offseason. I think Devin McCourty comes back. I think that's a slam dunk. So again, that's why I said safety. Not really worried about safety. But okay, looking at the corners, there's one free agent who you might know kind of well. Stephon Gilmore.
Kind of well.
Stephon Gilmore is going to be a free
Rings
agent.
a bell.
Wouldn't that be funny if Stephon Gilmore came back? And I don't know, like I know that there is some bad blood there on Gilmore's part of it. So I don't think it would happen, but wouldn't that be awesome?
Wouldn't that be hilarious? I always think about stuff like this in sports, and my go-to, wouldn't this be crazy scenario? We're dipping into basketball here. Do you remember when Kawhi Leonard forced his way out of San Antonio and went to the Raptors and won the championship? Me being a huge Spurs guy like I am, I was like, because Greg Popovich, Bill Belichick, they're both in the highest echelon of coaches. They're both just absolute masterminds. So I was like, what if this is all a ruse, a ploy? What if he told Kawhi to do this, got DeRozan from the Raptors, Kawhi goes over there, wins a championship, becomes a free agent, and then just goes back to San Antonio, and they have everyone they got from the Raptors and just get Kawhi back? What if, granted, we didn't get a king's ransom for Stephon Gilmore. It was actually an unspectacular return. What was it, a 4th round pick?
Yeah, nothing crazy.
So it wouldn't be a fleecing. But it would absolutely be hilarious to have given him up and then 11 games later he comes right back. That seems like a fleece job if I've ever heard it. That's some mastermind shit, and I would welcome him with open arms.
I would love to see it happen. Not sure.
I don't think it'll happen
because of that bad blood, but that would be great. But again, don't think that's actually going to happen. Next one on there, Carlton Davis from the Bucks. Very good corner. Nothing. I mean, he's very clearly a notch below your Gilmores or your, Tre'Davious Whites from the Bills or, anything like that. Wouldn't hate him on here, but I do think he is going to get a big contract because people do think that he is one of your elite corners. I don't think he's that good. So Carlton Davis.
I'm not amused. I wouldn't sign him if he was offering pennies.
So, okay. So you are out on Carlton Davis. Travarius Ward. What do you think about him? I know Al brought him up a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, he's not a difference maker. He's a starting caliber corner on a top contending team. But I mean, what was their weakness all year? It was defense, and the fact that like Mahomes had to, score 6 touchdowns to be in most of these games. The sample size and the defense he's been a part of have blown me away, and I haven't seen enough big plays from him. He's only a slight notch above Carlton Davis for me, and for that reason, I'm out.
I think he is only a slight notch above Jalen Mills, if we're being honest. I don't if that. I don't think.
Kind of. He's
I don't
almost
think
less
he's as good as
versatile than
Jonathan
Jalen Mills because Jalen Mills can kind of play like a safety linebacker role. Travarius Ward's just an outside corner.
Yeah, so he's out there. Casey Hayward Jr., a name that's actually been linked to the Pats. Wouldn't hate it.
I would love this.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. God, I thought you were gonna say no. I was like,
this dude is a world beater, a leveler of towns.
Yep. Yeah, Casey Hayward Jr. I would be fine with that. If you roll out there with him, Jonathan Jones, Jalen Mills, maybe draft a corner. I'm fine with that. Again, you're not going to have as good a cornerback group as you did with JC Jackson. Just not going to happen. You're not going to get one of those guys. So you got to kind of lower your expectations a little bit. Darius Williams. Now, this was kind of surprised me, but yeah, he's another one that has been linked to the Pats that they might go after. Yeah, and he's actually good. I looked up his stats. I didn't have him pulled up here, but wouldn't hate it either. And again, he's not going to blow you away. He's not a JC Jackson, not a Stephon Gilmore, nothing like that, but he's just a solid corner that could step up, step in and kind of, produce a little bit for him there.
This was a guy, he's the anti Travarius Ward for me, where it's like he just like Ward doesn't have the big plays, but he was part of a couple of really good defenses, top-notch defenses. I've seen a couple big plays from him, but not wild ones. He's just a speedster. He did his best on the other side of Jalen Ramsey, and they've had consistent success with it. That's a winning formula. It's suspect that he wears number 11 as a corner, but I'd give him a chance. I like him more than Ward.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't like the number 11 though. I don't, or like the number 5 as a linebacker. I don't.
No, it kills.
Hate it. But next one, Joe Hayden. Remember when Joe Hayden was like
the best,
the next corner? Yeah, but now Joe Hayden, I mean, another veteran. Who knows? I mean, you could probably get the next few guys on the cheap, relatively cheap. Are you feeling Joe Hayden?
No, he sucks. He's
he's kind of over the hill, right?
Yeah. He's bad. It's a shame because I liked him. It was a cool story back in the day. Like the tiny, 5'0" corner was locking it down. That's no longer the case, and now his size is just used against him. He's lost a bit of the step in the speed department. He's still, his numbers are good. Like with the Steelers, he's played pretty well, but they're not anything where I think he could improve this team. If anything, he's just becomes another middle of the road guy with the guys we already have. I don't think he's a difference maker. Anymore, unfortunately. He's a big name and that'll put asses in seats, but that's about it.
Exactly. I think the fact that he's a big name, someone's going to give him a little bit more than what the Patriots would want to, if they even want him on the team.
Yes.
Kyle Fuller, this guy was linked to the Pats during the season.
Yes.
You like Kyle Fuller?
Love. I do. I've always been a fan.
Yeah. Do you think him being on this defense makes them takes them to the next level? Or do you think that he's just another one of those guys, like you said, with Joe Hayden? Or do you think that, Kyle Fuller at least solidifies the cornerback room?
Unfortunately, I don't think it solidifies it much anymore either. It seems like his heydays are kind of gone. Although he's younger, there is room for a resurgence. I wouldn't bet on it. he's just another one of those guys that I think comes in. He elevates the room, definitely for sure. He's skilled. He always had a knack for interceptions. His rookie year was unbelievable, and his entire tenure with the Bears was very good. And then after that, his tenure with the Broncos went really poorly. I don't know if it's a defensive scheme that he couldn't get a grasp of or what, but he really just disappeared there. I have a hard time believing that somebody goes from playing as a upper tier, I would say out of 30 corners, he was probably like 14 to 12 in my eyes back in the day. I have a hard time believing that somebody goes from the better half of cornerbacks to completely nothing, not playing on the Denver Broncos. So I have to think there's something left. I think he definitely elevates the room, just much like Joe Hayden. He's not a world beater. He's not a difference maker. He's not going to take us to the next level, but he can help bolster our position group there. He'd be a welcome addition in my eyes.
Yeah, I agree. I'm also going into this thinking that we're assuming that the Pats are going to be drafting their next starting cornerback. So I'm kind of putting that all into play, which is why I don't think you need to draft or you need to trade for, or you need to sign this, huge starting, great, top whatever cornerback. I didn't know he's been in the league for 11 years.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, which is a long time. But
I remember his rookie year, he was unbelievable. He had like 3 picks in a game against the 49ers because Calvin Kaepernick sucked.
Yeah, wouldn't hate it. But Kaepernick wasn't. No, Kaepernick. I don't even want to talk about him. But but yeah. So Kyle Fuller. Controversy. Next one, Chris Harris. I would be fine with Chris Harris. Kind of in the same. I think of him in the same ilk that I do Kyle Fuller. I think that they would both, I who knows how much each one of them have left in the tank, but I wouldn't hate either one of them. I do like Chris Harris. He's actually been in the league for 11 years, not Kyle Fuller.
I was going to say 11 seems like a long time, but I remember Fuller's definitely been in it for at least 9.
Yeah. Chris Harris, though, just another veteran to plug in there. I mean, I think at this point, you want someone that you can put back there and just be like, listen, I know what you're good at. I know what you can do. Let me put you there. I'm already going to have a rookie who knows what the hell is going to happen with him. I wouldn't hate Chris Harris at all. Chris Harris Jr., because he got the fucking junior at the end. So
yeah. With this, he's almost a strictly slot corner. Do we need him? Is there use for him if he's almost strictly a slot corner? That was my only gripe, because I still like him despite 1 interception in all 3 of his last years, 3 in total, 1 interception at 19, 1 in 20, 1 in 21. The interceptions have dropped down, but for the most part, he's still an extremely serviceable corner. I love him. He's a speed guy, proven champion, great veteran presence. I would like him. But if you are as committed to Jonathan Jones as our slot corner as you seem to be, I don't think we have much of a need for him.
Yeah, I mean,
because he's old. What are we going to give up on Jonathan Jones for a year or 2 of Chris Harris?
Exactly. He would be more of like a piece that you would put in there, like not just a depth piece, but he would be someone that you would like, I don't know,
like a situational piece.
Yeah, one of those. Like, and I don't know if
a team's running like a bunch of 4 wide receiver sets, and you need 2 inside corners. That would be when you'd really need him.
Yeah, I agree. So I don't know if you really need him, want him, anything like that. But he is a name. He's good. Put him in there. Who knows? The next name, by the way, though, I did just look it up. Patrick Peterson has been linked to the Pats as a potential, not replacement for JC Jackson, but just someone to go in there. Patrick Peterson was one of those guys that for a couple of years there, he was the top corner in the league. He's definitely fell off, as most corners do. They have a shelf life of being really great for 3 or 4 years, and that's it. I don't know if maybe it's just because of his name value, and I'm maybe thinking of how he used to be. I wouldn't hate Patrick Peterson on this team. I wanted him here before he left, before he, went to 3 different teams or whatever it was. But I would have liked Patrick Peterson. What do you think about him? Because he is kind of that veteran where he's a little bit more name value than actual on-field value at this point. But I want him. I would like
that's my gripe here. He couldn't cover a baby with a blanket anymore. He does not have it. barbecue chicken city right here. He has lost an entire step, no longer fast, no longer even competent. He was never a covering corner. Patrick Peterson has absolutely nothing left in the tank. There's nothing he can contribute to this team. He is not good anymore.
So moving on. You don't want Patrick Peterson.
Definitely not.
Who else do you have on the list?
So you had at the end here Jason Verrett, which I thought was an interesting one.
Oh yeah,
he's still, I think he's still fairly young, at least in the middle of his career. He's been in a couple different stops. Again, he's not a blowaway corner either. He's not going to wow anyone in particular, but he's played for some good teams. He is textbook starting corner, like average starting corner. Like this is a dude who can start for just about any team. He's super solid. Is he 30? Damn, 30, he has been around for a while. Yeah. I remember when he was drafted. Man, I'm old. But he's somebody who can just start for any team. I see him as if somebody gets hurt, if somebody goes down, or if we desperately don't want to start Jones, Jalen Mills, or Miles Bryant, that we get this guy to start because he's a decent enough name that he can headline your defense. But he, again, just like Joe Hayden and the other guys, he doesn't blow me away. He's not going to make us a lockdown defense. He's not going to make our secondary unbelievable. I don't know. I'm indifferent about him.
Yeah, that's kind of how I am about a couple of these guys. Like it's just those things where it's like if they're not these starting elite corners, it's like you're really just going to be kind of not a depth piece, but more of your second, third, fourth corner there. Like I can't. It's tough to get all jazzed up about that, especially when I'm already assuming the Pats are going to be drafting a corner in the second, third, fourth round, and he's going to be the guy that's going to start for the next 5 years. So
so the expectations aren't too high for him there. But if it were to happen, I certainly wouldn't hate it. The dude can ball.
Yeah. There was a name I forgot to put on there. Malcolm Butler. He's coming out of retirement, supposedly.
He is officially coming out of retirement.
I don't know what the last thing was. Let me look it up. But last I saw was that he was coming out of retirement. Let me see. Malcolm Butler. Probably nobody knows what the hell's going on with him.
Yeah.
Malcolm Butler.
People are still trying to figure out why he got benched in the Super Bowl, little on his playing status.
I don't think we'll ever know why he was benched. So really no other news on it other than the fact that people were saying that he didn't want to come out of retirement. I don't know what's going to happen yet. I wouldn't want him anyways, but it was just a name. No. Didn't know if you'd want him. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty much passed on Malcolm Butler.
Yeah.
One of the other names I really liked was Rasul Douglas, and I was talking about him earlier where he hasn't been great, and then last year he killed it. This is a former Eagle. You'd think I'd love him for that. I actually fucking hate him. He was terrible on the Eagles. Dude was atrocious. He couldn't cover a parked car. But then, of course, he goes to the Packers. Ball's out of control. I think he was top 5 in picks this year. Really held down a defense that only got better throughout the season. This screams a team's going to throw a contract at him, and he probably won't live up to it. If the Patriots get a hold of him, though, I believe that there's a little more stability in a situation like that. He definitely could be more serviceable for longer. Again, though, is he a number 1 corner? Last year says yes. Every other year says he's a number 2 or 3.
Yeah.
So what are you really going to go with? I go with the bigger sample size.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those weird things where it's like you want to get free agents that can play, but you also don't want to get redundant with it. Like you said, where we don't need necessarily another big name slot corner. We don't need another middling cornerback to go out there and play. That's why I think unless you can maybe get one of these guys on the cheap and plug them in, or Kyle Fuller is really the name I think that's out there. Other than him, I think the Pats kind of fill up this room in the draft. I think that's what they do here. So
yeah, I wish they would get like a big hard hitting corner, and they don't really exist anymore. The biggest one on this list would be Carlton Davis, and he's not exactly a leveler of worlds. I miss the Brandon Browners. All the corners now, they're all softer than drugstore cotton.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, they're all more of your finesse cover type guys. They want to make the pick. They want to jump the route. They want to do that. There's not that many young corners coming up now that want to, make the tackle, get their nose in there. It's more of the, I mean, I'll man you up. I'll make the play. I'll deflect the ball, pick it off, whatever. Brandon Browner. Those were the days.
God, I miss him.
Those were the days.
I should break out my Brandon Browner Pats jersey sometime.
Brandon Browner. Oh my God.
Him. Has the Super Bowl patch on it and everything. Big Brandon Browner guy.
I think everybody was, and then he's not really he's not doing well now. But
no, certainly not. Don't drop the soap.
No. But yeah, Brandon Browner. If you could find a guy like him, get him. I don't care where he is. Draft
him on the
pick him up,
max.
whatever you're doing. But yeah, that's all I have for DBs. Do you got anything else for them, or any other kind of final thoughts for the Patriots in defense, free agency, all that fun stuff?
Yeah, I guess my closing note would just be choose wisely. Know what you got and choose accordingly, and know what's worth getting and what's worth not getting. Because as we went over with the corners, so it's a lot of guys that would be a cool name on there that are probably cheap enough that you could afford them, but you don't exactly need them because they're not going to help you so much. Stephon Gilmore, now that would be big time. That would be one worth reaching out to. Every other one is really a toss-up besides maybe Casey Hayward, and he's on the tail end of his career. When we look back at the linebackers, there were a few names that popped out. A huge risk, huge reward with Jalen Smith. Anthony Barr seemed to have highlighted that list for both of us. We both loved him and were interested in Quan Alexander as much as some other guys. So I think the biggest need comes with corner and linebacker. Corner seems to be something we'd be addressing in the draft. Linebacker seems something more worth addressing in free agency. And then D-line, it's like, don't really screw up a good thing unless you have a chance to get someone transcendent or somebody versatile, which would be Chandler Jones or Calais Campbell. Other than that, you kind of got an abundance of riches there. So it all comes down to the Patriots just being smart with what they want to do, which they always have been. It's nothing new. I don't need to say this in hopes that Bill sees this, because I'm sure Bill is all over this. I'm sure he's breaking down every number right now with his tiny ass dog next to him, crunching the numbers in some dark room, just ripping cigarettes and fucking grinding away. The only
light is Jalen Smith. I didn't even think of Jalen Smith.
Exactly. He's like, oh, these fucking geniuses. But yeah, so I just say be careful with who you want to get. I would hate to see us fork out for Patrick Peterson and then watch him get smoked and then have him retire at halftime like Fonte Davis did.
Yeah, that was wild that he did that. I think Patrick Peterson again. I am, and I'll admit it, I am a victim of the name there. I see the name and I'm like, he's got to have one more year in him.
You don't think I wouldn't love to have Patrick Peterson, but this isn't Patrick Peterson anymore. This is a broken down shell of a man this is like the suburban neighborhood dad who got divorced equivalent of Patrick Peterson, where he's not himself. He's just broken down shell of a man who's like, I'm just up here cleaning the gutters, like fucking, I don't know,
just going through the motions, not really any service to anybody. Exactly. That's Patrick Peterson. So all right,
an oxygen thief, if anything else.
I see that then. So yeah, I agree. I think you took the words out of my mouth. I think, corner, I feel like they go through the draft for the to kind of bolster that position, that room. Linebackers, sign someone. I'm sure they'll draft someone too, but I don't think it's going to be anything crazy there. D-line, I think you're good. Like if you can maybe Carl Davis does come back. I don't know, but you don't really need to make any addition there, because even if you have an injury, you still got a good amount of depth there. So I don't know. I think you really just have to worry about corner. You gotta figure that out, whether you sign a big name. Maybe there's a trade out there that we don't know about, but you gotta solidify that room. Even if you don't get someone who's a flashy as good, just draft someone who might play really well, who might develop into someone, and then go from there. That's what I think they're gonna do. So I don't know. It is wild. I do know that next week free agency opens up March 16th. Next week, there's another event happening. Liam, next week, what is it? March 16th.
Your boy turns a quarter of a century, baby.
Let's go. So, it's going to be a wild week. We got birthdays, we got free agents. It's going to be insane. hopefully when we record it, I don't know if we're going to wait till before free agency, maybe after free agency, so we can kind of talk about it then. But either way, there will be an episode next week at some point. You know, that there might even be like an emergency one if some crazy shit happens. But either way, this is the best time of year. This is when you don't know, you know, you start to build your team, you get pumped, you get excited, like, holy shit, are the Patriots going to get, you know, player X? Are they going to trade for whoever? Are they going to get DK Metcalf? Are they going to, you know, pull off a trade and get, you know, I don't even know. There might be that. I bet you there is a trade or a name out there the Patriots are going to get that isn't even on anybody's radar.
Oh, I'm sure.
It could be a big name.
Usually seems to be like that.
Yeah. So I don't know what's going to happen. There's also going to be some guy that's going to get cut, released that hurts. And I think that's going to, I don't want to talk about it.
Hurt us particularly.
It's going to happen. But yeah, Liam, until next week, until your birthday episode, do you have anything else to say before we get out of here?
Buckle up for free agency, baby. It's going to be a wild fucking ride.
Let's go. I can't wait. We will see you next week. Free agency episode, Liam birthday episode. Let's go. See you next week. Tuck Rule takes. We out.
Later.
Sweet pea.